Tell, Cockerel. He's just a true guy. You'll have a true time. Tell, Cockerel. Leave your troubles at the door. You know the game, you know the score. We're here to have fun, so holster that gun and read the writing on the wall. The predictions leak, done every week. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. Jose gets himself around. Always talking Spurs, wherever he is found, home or away. He always tips to win, throws the form book in the bin with a cheeky knowing grin. Tell, Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. The predictions league, done every week. It just goes on and on and on and on. Why do I always get it wrong? Every time I play along. Tell, Cockerel. The show is so chilled, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Cockerel. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel. The show is so chill, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Cockerel.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Tell Cockerel. It's the members' calling show. It's my Tottenham, your Spurs, our club. Come and have your say. It's Saturday, the 6th of September. It's a good morning from me and from my guest, the first one that I've got. But it'll be a good afternoon and a good evening to you guys as well. The member link has been put into the chat, so everyone who's a member would have received the link. So everyone who's a member is more than welcome. Come on. But the first person we got here today is Ryan.
Hello, Jose. How are you, mate?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad at all. But it's not all about me. It's about you guys as members, what your thoughts are, and I bet you've got a few of them.
Trust me, Jose. If only, let's put it like this, right? If only I could describe what has happened over the last 48, 72 hours, yeah, right? Up in one word, I would class it as beautiful.
Yeah, go on then, carry on. Why is it beautiful?
Because Levy's gone.
Yeah.
And we've now got what well, I've got what I've wanted. I can't speak for everybody else, right? Because I like you know, Jose, if I speak for everybody else, then I'm not representing everybody fairly. Do you know what I mean? So I will only speak for myself. It's because we had 25 years or whatever it was. God, see, it's that long. I don't even know if it was 25 years or 29 years after time.
24, 24.
Oh, 24. Okay. Yeah, we've had 24 years of absolute rubbish under this old regime, and I couldn't. And do you know what? Right, you know when people say you remember where you were when you first heard it. I know exactly where I was when I first heard it. I was sitting down thinking, am I going to have any dinner? Or do I wait until later on? And then I get a message come through from a West Ham fan who's told me that Levy's gone. That was how I found out about it.
So there's no doubt, I think, by hearing you, you're happy that he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah?
100%. I couldn't be any more happier. The only way that I could get any happier now, yeah, right? And this is not really trying to be horrible. This is more just me wanting the whole thing to be the whole club just to be sold now. Get Joe Lewis out. I get where people say, "Oh, we'll give Viv a chance." I don't even want to see what regime it could be under her. I just want a whole clean break. I want some, and I know people are going to say, "Oh, well, who do you want in?" I want Saudi money coming through.
So you don't care where the money comes from, basically. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, basically, yeah. As long as they're going to be ambitious and they want to win trophies like Premier Leagues, like Champions Leagues. I know it sounds silly saying all this now, but I've been on Cloud Cuckoo 9. Is that how you say it? Cloud Cuckoo 9?
Cloud Cuckoo Land, yeah.
Yeah. So I've been living there for the last 48, 72 hours, man, and I just want to. And having Thomas Frank in, it's. I'm not gonna. If people want me to have a go at him for what happened at Bournemouth, I'm not having a go at him for anything. Like I said last member show, I'm giving him a free pass for the whole of this season, so he can do what he wants. But when it comes down to this, I didn't think that I thought it was gonna literally be until the day that Levy was, unfortunately. At the time, I thought it was going to be Levy, unfortunately, passing away for us to lose Levy. But it looks like if you work hard enough to try and get someone out, they can retire quite literally beforehand. And there's been some rumours though where I've heard where he was told he was meant to step down, but I don't know. To be honest, I don't care if he's retired, if he's been told to step down. I really couldn't care, Jose, to be honest, mate. I really couldn't. Really couldn't.
Okay. So there was a report about, where are we now? We're in September. So there was a report that I read. There's only one outlet, and it was only one ever report that I read, but it must have been back in, I'd say it was probably back in April, possibly May, May. And
yeah,
the report said that Vivian Lewis wants Tottenham to do well and is at odds with Daniel Levy and doesn't like the way that Daniel Levy has done things on the pitch. Off the pitch, he's represented the company, basically, but she weren't happy. And that supposedly, according to this report, that they are Tottenham supporters. The son and the daughter are Tottenham supporters.
Yeah.
And that they felt that not enough was done on the pitch and that changes needed to be made, right? But it only came out from one outlet, and that was back in April, May. And then after that, it was just, totally gone, right? And all of a sudden, this happened on Thursday evening, 5:45. The announcement came from Tottenham Hotspur to say that Daniel Levy's, and all of a sudden you started getting reports coming out from various sources saying different things. I'll read you one of the reports that I've got. All right, one of the ones that I had on the night, and I read it on my show yesterday, but I'll read it again. It was an extract from one of the reports at the BBC. Let me have a look. So this was coming out at the moment everything was going on. Right, here we go. Right. BBC Sport understands the decision was taken out of Levy's hands. According to well-placed sources, the company that effectively owns Spurs, the Tavistock Group, which is owned by the Lewis family, has agreed for Levy to leave his position amid a belief that change will help the ambitions of greater and sustained sporting success. Levy will depart with immediate effect and there will be no notice period, with the timing of his departure after the summer transfer window a deliberate move. BBC Sport has been told that there is a sense from the Lewis family that success on the pitch has not been consistent enough over the years of Levy's reign. Spurs have won 2 trophies during his 25 years at Spurs. He was 24, but they're saying 25 here. The first being the League Cup in 2008. The Lewis family are aware of some supporter discontent, much of it directed at Levy, that has engulfed the club in recent years. Tavistock figurehead Joe Lewis, 88, is understood to have had a peripheral role in the decision for Levy to leave. It is understood that younger generations of the family, Vivian and Charlie, who are Joe's children, have been key in making the decision. Vivian has been particularly visible at Spurs in recent months, and Nick Bocha, the grandson-in-law of Joe Lewis, has also taken greater involvement.
That's interesting. But like I said, as long as we're successful, and like I said to you about everything just a few minutes ago about having Saudi money and everything, I'm one of these that would prefer that. I'm more looking at it from the perspective of it being, because I was actually saying to someone yesterday who I won't say no names because they're on YouTube, and I know they probably won't care, but I won't give their name anyway. But I spoke to a certain person, and I said to them, I'm looking at it from the point of view, if we got the Saudis in, that we'd be looking at more of the Man City kind of route.
Right.
But the only difference is where Man City literally bought the league, we would. I'm not saying we wouldn't be doing the same kind of thing, except we'd be doing it legally, if that makes sense, because we've got so much. We're so far on the green side of the FFP that we would probably be able to go out and spend something like. I can't give you an exact figure. Don't anyone take this as gospel, but I'm just plucking a number out of the air here, right? But we could probably spend something like £1 billion in one window just to sort this team out. Like I said, do not clip me, because don't hold me to that, because I don't know if it's exactly that. That's how far in the green we are with the FFP. But that was just like a number I've just picked out of thin air. Do you know what I mean, Jose? So
yeah. So can I just say, Jack is in the chat. Jack, tell you what, mate, if it's easier for you, and Wayne Bonner, good morning, Wayne, I hope you're well. But for both of you, because you've missed predictions this week, there are 25 games. So it might be easier for you to give me just a blanket score, and for you, Ryan, as well. Just give me one score that you want me to put across all the fixtures. At least like that, you'll get fixtures in. I will say that only one game is finished that won't count. But if you want to give me a score, I will put that score in across the board for you.
Is it the World Cup qualifiers and everything like that this week? Yeah.
No, it's no.
Is
I
that
haven't
what we're
done it like
talking
that.
about?
No. I don't do it like that, mate. What I've done
Okay.
is I've picked games from around the world.
Yeah.
We've got so many league games throughout the world,
Yeah.
mate. I've got.
Can
This
I
is
just
what I've
ask
got.
then? Is England in that? Is England in that? In that
No,
prediction?
right. I've
No.
got the the Austrian Regional East League, the Belarusian
Yeah.
Perishaya Liga, the Belgian National ACFF, the Bolivian
Yeah.
Copa Simon. These are all weird and
Mm.
wonderful games that are being played. So Wayne Bonner wants me to go 2-0 home win all the way through. Okay, so that's what I'll do for
Right.
Wayne.
Um.
It just means that you get scores in, that's
do you
all.
know-
So it's just a blanket score all the way through if you want.
Yeah. Do you know what? Let's do it like this. I'll give you my prediction now. I'll say. Let's go for a marvelous 4-2 across the board, shall we? For the home teams.
4-2. 4-2. Okay, that's it. And Jack, if you want to give me an across the board, you can do, mate, and I will put them in for you. Let me just copy that.
Just because
Ryan.
I'm just wanting to be different to everybody else. You know what I mean, Jose?
Well,
So
if they come off, you get points, don't you? So,
yeah.
right. That's Wayne in and Ryan. And then we're back to normal. Next Friday, we'll be back to the Premiership games and the 3. So I've got you all in. Wayne says, "Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all well. How's everyone feeling about the Levy situation?" Which is exactly what Ryan's talking about now. Sorry, it's a good evening to
Yeah.
Scott. Good evening, Scott. Yeah, it's a good evening, Scott C. Says, "Hello, Jose in chat." And he says, "Please hit the last button." And Cockney Hotspur was here this morning. Says, "Bosh, morning, everybody." So that's it. I've caught up with the chat. So
Yeah, can
Ryan,
I just say to everyone in the chat? Sorry, can I just say to everyone in the chat? If you haven't hit that like button on the way in, can you please do it? Because Jose would be much appreciated with all that. Please hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please smash that subscribe button. And if you can't hit the like because Levy's gone, then come on, what will make you hit the like button?
I have got
What
my
sound
own
like a pig?
my own walking salesman this morning, Ryan. So Ryan, what I was going to say is right. So
Yeah.
to people, for people to understand it, for the people that haven't looked into it, ENIC own 86 point something% of the club. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, and Levy
From
still owns about 30%,
hold on,
if I'm concerned.
ENIC own the 86 point something of the club. Out of the 86 points, out of the 86.6 within ENIC, 70.12 is owned by Joe Lewis's kids or the Tavistock kids,
Right.
the trust or whoever, and Levy's got 29.88. So therefore,
So,
Levy is the
I was right.
minority holder, and because he's the minority holder, that's why they were able to oust him. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they've always been able to oust him. He's a big player in the sense that he's got a lot of shares within ENIC that make the overall 86%. But in the grand scheme of things, he's classed as a minority shareholder because the majority
Yeah.
shareholder is Joe Lewis's kids. So that's
Yeah.
why they were able to make this decision. And they've always been able to make this decision when Joe Lewis was at the helm. But it's only since he's passed it to his children that all this has happened because the children are taking more closer order than what Joe Lewis did. When Joe Lewis had it, the face of ENIC was Levy because Joe Lewis put Levy into that position and then he was the face. But now that Levy's gone, yeah, we're hearing a lot of reports. And for you, I'll ask you because I've heard what you said about Saudi money and stuff like that. But I think right. So basically, before I come to ask you this, I believe, and I said this on my show the other day, my thoughts are that this isn't. Reports are saying, yeah, he didn't know nothing about it and he was just bombed out, right? I think he knew about it because if you're hearing 4 or 5 months ago that Vivian's not happy with him, right? Then obviously these
mm,
rumorings were already happening back then, and I reckon, right, that the writing was on the wall for him, and he knew this and they brought Peter Charrington in as a non-executive, right?
mm.
Peter Charrington is uh, worked for the Citibank private equity group for 25 years. He knows about major deals. He's dealt with them all his life, and he was brought in by them. And it's funny because they were both at the club already when we won the Europa League. So that shows you how long they
Mm.
came. They came in April, May, but they were both at the club when we won the Europa League, right? So then you've got Donna Marie Cullen, who they got rid of as well.
Mm.
Scott Munn, who they put on gardening leave, they've got rid of. They've got rid of Ange as well. So they've made a whole sweeping changes. They've done all that, and now
Mm.
they've removed Daniel Levy. So you're saying that you'd rather have Saudi money, but then you're saying that people are saying that they'd rather give Vivian a chance. Let's see if she's true to her word and she does want Tottenham to succeed. The proof will obviously be in the pudding in what happens and what we hear from the club from now on, right? Because, and I said this the other day on my show, we all would like to know where we're going, wouldn't we, Ryan? We want to know what the situation is. We want to know where we're going. We want to know what we're doing, right? But
Yeah.
not clubs here in England. Sorry, clubs here in England, they don't come out and speak to their fans all the time. Abroad, they do. Abroad, you go Spain, Italy,
Mm.
places like that. Quite often, a member of the board, or someone will come out and they'll do something, they'll say something. There are fans forums, and there's a lot of clubs in Europe that are owned by the fans. They call it socios, and they're owned by the fans.
Yeah.
That model's not here in England, so therefore, there's not many teams here in England that the boards will go out and speak to the fans. But as Tottenham fans,
Yeah.
right, we just want someone to tell us what we're
Oh.
doing, what direction we're going in, so forth and so on, so we know where we stand. What do you think?
Um. Look, I I find it difficult at the best of times, Jose, because I'm I'm in the position of I just want I just don't know if I could trust anything that any of the Lewis family say. I don't. Okay, we've got rid of the snake's head. In my personal opinion, that's what he was. He was a snake's head, and but we're still left with the body, where of what I think is the snake, and I just don't see how it changes under, because look, this could be just all the PR stunt though at the same time, Jose. Do you know what I mean? It could still be just a PR stunt.
I'm not sure about it being a PR stunt when they've made the changes and brought Vinay in already and Charrington and that. I don't think it can be a PR stunt to do that because they've brought these people in. There's reasons why they've brought these people in. It's either they've brought them in to manage and run this club on the football side effectively, whilst maintaining all the other things, but run the football side effectively.
Mm.
Or it could be to fatten the cat and look for minority investment or look for majority investment, which would probably be a sale of the club. There's a lot of things that are going on because we've still got the naming rights to the stadium. We've still got
Mm.
the new kit sponsorship to sort out and stuff. So it's quite a bit still to be done. Um,
Mm.
and at the end of the day, what you crave what you crave for is having owners. The ideal scenario would be to have owners that really do support the club in the sense that they are natural supporters. It's in their lifeblood, so to speak. Like you and I, Tottenham's in our lifeblood.
Mm.
If it is in their lifeblood and they want to see Tottenham do well, or any club have got owners that are in their lifeblood and they want them to do well, then hopefully you're on the right side of a winner, basically doing that.
Well,
But
you
it's
say
you,
that
but, you,
though,
but you're a, but
Jose.
you're a, but you're a bit skeptical about it all, aren't you?
Yeah, because right, don't you remember what one of the things that Levy said 25 years ago? because that's what they're classing it as 25 years ago, even though you're saying it's 24. I'm not going to argue about a year here or there. Do you know what I mean? So, like, do you remember what he said 25 years ago? I support Tottenham. That's what's making me skeptical when people now say, well, just because they support Spurs, let's give them a chance. But then we heard the same thing with Levy. That's why I'm skeptical, like you said. That's why I am extremely skeptical, and that's why I would say just get rid of the whole load of them and just get in someone who is in it to literally make this this club successful, winning as many Champions Leagues that we can, and the best way of doing that is with money from Saudi Arabia. I know people say America can also have probably got the money, but there's not many of them out there in that part of the country, in that part of the world, who actually have over £1 billion. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I have, and I'm not the only one that has said. There's someone I speak to who I'm very close to, has said, who's actually a Spurs fan as well. He's turned around and said, the next time when we sell this club, it will be to one of the Saudi Arabian countries, people, and I believe that as well. And that's why I think we should just take on what we've got at the moment. Let them take what they've got, and just let the Saudis come in now. And big up Drula. Much love.
Yeah, good morning, Driller. I hope you're well. Hope you're rested and everything's cool with you and the family. Right, I play football on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for my sins, and I do a double session on a Friday. So I play with 2 different groups. I play with one group for an hour and a quarter, and then do another hour and a quarter straight after onto the next pitch.
Jose, I think your internet's a bit buggy today, mate.
Why?
Because you keep cracking out on me a little bit.
Did I? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
What did you hear me say?
I got to the bit where you said that you was on the set. You do an hour and a half on one pitch and then an hour and a half on another pitch, and that was all I got.
Right. Okay. And then there's a Brighton lad, supports Brighton, and he plays, and he said to me, I was winding them all up, saying, "I bet you're all fucking pissed off and gutted that Levy's gone, ain't ya? Because you've given me enough stick over the years, so I bet you lot are all gutted because they've got nothing to say now to me." And then one of them turned around and said, "I'm hearing that he said he's primed for Saudi takeover." And I said, "Oh, what makes you say that then?" And he said, "The Saudis have come out openly within the anymore for the boxing."
Oh, yeah, Jose, you cracked up again, mate. I got you. The prime for the taking. Yeah, you literally just stopped. I think you just lagged because like you were frozen and.
Yeah, I'm going to come.
Because it's happened quite a few times, actually, Jose.
Right, let me switch over.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Ooh.
Just switched from one provider to another.
Ah, okay. Yeah. And you seem to be okay at the moment.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, mate. Yep.
Ooh. He's back.
Can everyone else hear Jose as well, or is it just me that can hear him? If anyone,
you're back. You were gone a minute, but you're back. Right, we're all here now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've changed the internet. I've changed from one internet to another. Right. So they were saying that the Saudis have within their group, they've turned around and said they don't want to use Wembley Stadium anymore for the boxing. That they feel that Tottenham Stadium is far better venue. Everything, the acoustics, absolutely everything you've got there is a far better venue for the boxing, and they want to put more boxing on at Tottenham Hotspur.
Do you know what? Right, as long as it's going to be when it's through the international breaks, and if we're away, and if we're in the off season, I'm more than willing for that to happen, Jose. I am. I'm not going to lie, because it will just give us more money, right? And if it means that we're going to earn more money, to have more money coming into this club for transfers, I'm down for that, mate. I'm down for that all day, every single day, and 2 weeks on a and 2 days on a Sunday.
Yeah. You've got David Clark's here. Morning, David. He says that Levy was worth 80 million in 2024. He's now worth 2.6 billion. It's far. We know that he's gone on. We know that he's gone on and he's made his money at Tottenham. You know that he's not the only one. I think ENIC, the people at ENIC as well, have made their money at Tottenham. So fattening the cow at Tottenham has been done. It has been done. They've done it from when they brought it in. I don't think. Right. I'm going to go back to. Let's go back to 2001. Right. When he took over. Right. So we nearly went out of existence. We nearly stopped trading as a football club because of the infighting that we had back in the Irving Scholar days. But then we've shifted Scholar, and it went to Alan Sugar and Terry Venables, and then there was that big, massive falling out there. Tottenham were in turmoil so for about 15 years. So from about the mid 80s, even when we were winning in Europe and winning trophies, we were winning FA Cups. But from the mid 80s all the way till ENIC came in, Tottenham were in turmoil. There was one thing after another. We were run like shambles, and it was awful. And at the time, if you people are as old as me, when ENIC came and took over, they turned around and said, "We're an investment company. We see an opportunity here to improve the club and to build it, blah, blah, blah." And I think as fans, we didn't really listen too much to the words that were being said because we'd had enough of the internal wars that we had for 15 years prior with the club nearly going bust. We were taken out of the FA Cup because of our misdemeanors. Yeah, we were reinstated, but we were taken out of the FA Cup. We were an absolute shambles. So I think when ENIC came along, we were happy that maybe we've got someone that's come in and that all the shenanigans that had happened for the previous 15 years or 2 decades, we were hoping that would be, an end of that and there'll be a new way forward. So we didn't listen too much to the words that, Daniel Levy said when ENIC came in and got the club. However, they never lied. What they said on day one, they didn't lie. It's just that we chose not to listen to all the words at the time because of, as I said, all the turmoil that we'd been in beforehand. Now, David Clark reckons that the son and daughter have no wish to run Tottenham. They want a total sale because their father's in the late 80s. I don't think it's got anything to do with the father because the father's passed on the club to the kids. So I don't think Joe Lewis, has Joe Lewis even cared? He's made money. He's 80, whatever. He's never seen at Tottenham at all. I'm not sure whether for him, I think out of all of these people, the person who really sees it as you just give me my money is Joe Lewis. So whatever we've done, whatever we've built, whatever we've gone and done, he would have had to approve everything. But all he wants to see is the cha-ching coming through. And the cha-chings come through. How much more how much more can you bleed out the club? How many more hotels can you build? How many more gardens can you landscape? You can't add apart from players now. There's not much more you can add to that club because they've built everything they need to build. Unless they're going to go and build another new stadium for the ladies now and another new training facility for the ladies. Other than that, they've done whatever they need to do. So, to me, it's like I said, and like you said, Ryan, at the start of the show, are we going to get investment or are these people, it's one of the two, are we going to get investment or are these son and daughter really want to see us do well on the pitch.
See, that's why I don't. This is what, and I'll go back to it as well, and I'll say it. It's me being skeptical, and that's why I can't believe anything until I've seen it with my own eyes. And do you know what? Isn't it a bit funny as well, Jose, that we've gone out this year, right? And I know people are probably going to have their own opinion on this, what I'm about to say, and it's all well and good. You can have your opinion, but we brought in, whether it was buys or whether it was loans, we have had 4 first-team players come into this squad this season, in this window. And could there have been more? Definitely. There could have been another 1 or 2 first teamers that could have probably have been added into this squad. But when you look at it now, we've got 4 good, very good. We got a striker in, we got a right mid in, we got a cam in, and a defensive midfielder in that all walk into that first team. And I think that was, and we've never seen that before. So there must, either Levy's, like you said, either Levy knew he was going, or Levy just said, "This is the last chance that I'm going to get, and if I don't get a chance, if I screw up this transfer window, I'm out." And and in the eyes of the people who are above him, have said, "You didn't do enough in the transfer window. You're out."
Mm. You've got people. If you are members, you would have had the link sent out to you already. You can come on and have your say. Doesn't have to be. You don't have to be a Tottenham supporter, because I know that I've got people that are members that are not Tottenham supporters. You're more than welcome to come on. You know, at the end of the day, this is your show. It's a members show. You've got Archer come in and said, "Good morning, guys." Good morning, Archer. He says, "Can these boxers play on the left wing?" Boom, boom, Archer. Boom, boom. You then have Vidar. I'm not going to say his surname because I might butcher it, because I don't speak Norwegian. But he says Norway will buy Tottenham. Lee Wiz is here. Morning, the Wiz kid. Says morning, Jose, and all good morning to you, sir. Colin Blackshaw's here, and he says morning, gents. Good morning, Colin. I hope you're well. And Blaine from Super Spurs TV says morning, Jose. Good morning, Blaine. I hope you are well, sir. I hope you're well.
Are we going to get any? Are we going to see Chang any point today, or is he busy?
Well, I don't. Well, me and Chang do a show at midday on a Sunday, but he's got the link. But Chang works. Chang works extraordinarily long hours. So for Chang now it would be, I think it's 5:42 in the evening for him, and he works weekends as well. So when he does the show on a Sunday, he's doing it from his office. He's doing it from his office, and then he has to go from there to leave to go home. So by the time we finish the show, it's already time to go and get the last bus and whatever. So I don't know whether Chang will appear or not. You've got David Clark says, "Look, Lewis's disastrous policy of bringing in multiple young players into the squad means these 4 new signings don't mitigate his mistakes, because the bench is still weak in the Champions League season." Right, so I suppose I'll have to ask you, Ryan, right? And I'm going to ask this question. With the first of all, I'll ask you this: how do you rate the summer transfer window? I'm going to ask you that first, because that's the most important thing to ask first.
Do you know what? I've dillied and dallied across the whole of this transfer window, having gone through it stage by stage, and by the end of it, I've come out by thinking it's bang average.
What's the figure? What's it out of 10? Okay, 5 or 6 out of 10.
6.
Okay, so it comes on to my next question then. Sorry, Vidar says, "Hope all is good in Spurs and that you buy Antonio Nusa instead of Savinho. I think he would be better at left wing, so buy him in January." Vidar, can I ask, do you support Tottenham? because I know you come into my chats. I'm just curious. Who do you support in Norway, and who do you support? Who's your team? You might support an Italian team, for all I know. And then you've got Shemtown here says, "Good morning, Mr. Bossman, Jose, and Mr. Ryan. Hope you're both well today." Drew says it's a 7.5, the best win. Someone's entitled to their opinion. Drew says 7.5. Vidas does support Tottenham. So Judas says 7.5. So we bought Danso, Tel, Takai, and then we've gone for Kudos, Paulinho, Simmons, Moani.
Kulo and Moani, yeah.
Right. So, and then we've signed on a long-term contract. We've got Christian Romero on a contract, and we've got Jed Spence on a contract. That's the window.
See, that's why I don't. No, it's not though. Them last two that you said aren't new signings.
No. It's not new signings. They signed new contracts.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. And you can't. I'm hearing a load of people at the moment, Jose, saying, "Oh, well, they're new signings because they've signed a new long." No, they're not. They've been here for God knows how long. It's only because they're now actually getting a new contract. Doesn't make you a new signing. They've started to perform well. They deserve it. Credit to them. Do I believe that when because I don't believe for a fact that it makes a blind bit of difference with them whether they got a new contract or not, right? Even if they hadn't signed that contract and they had signed it later on, like after the window, and we got them locked down to a new contract, it's all well and good, but they're not going to be new signings. Do you know what I mean? They are not. I'm sorry. They're really, really not new signings. And the only new signings we got in were the ones that, like you said, and I don't even class the kids, and I don't even class Tel as a new signing. I didn't even want Tel when he came on loan the first time round. Tel should never have come back here. We shouldn't have bought him. I'm hearing some parts of it where they're saying that it was it would be an obligation to buy if we brought if we hit certain milestones. Well, then we didn't hit the milestones. Then I'm hearing out from the other day on someone else's show that I was on, people that know what shows I'm on, you know, that I'm being told that he didn't hit the obligation. That we didn't hit the obligation, and the price was moved around and shifted and shafted around. And do you know what? If that's the case, then it wasn't an obligation to buy because he didn't hit the targets he should have hit.
I just saw Blaine put a comment in, and I'm trying to search for mine, and mine's not come up. Blaine says that. Where's Blaine's? Blaine, where is he gone? For your information, Jose, I've booked all my travel and tickets for Villa and Man United at home. Block 325 for both games. Incoming back, baby. So you've booked for Villa and Man United. Hold on. If you book Villa and Man United, what's the difference there? Let me just check. Blaine a second.
But what I will ask everybody, is it okay to ask a question whilst you're doing that, and then you can come back
Yeah.
What I want to ask everyone is my opinion, on the Champions League. How far do you think you guys think we will get? Because I honestly think, even though the window was only a 5 or a 6, if we get lucky and we get into that top 8 and we get lucky in the knockouts, I think we could make a semi-final. Personally, what does everyone in the chat think? Because I personally think that, and then I personally think we'll also, if we get a nice favourable draw in the League Cup and the FA Cup, that we could bring both those trophies home. Personally.
So Blaine, I knew there was a gap because I'm going to all three games as well, Blaine. I've decided I'm not going to Wolves, but I've got Villa, Chelsea, Man United. And I thought to myself, I think there's a gap between Villa and Man United. So basically, you must be coming over twice, Blaine. Um, there are tickets actually on sale for Chelsea as well at the moment, because I've just had an email come through. It's still Chelsea tickets. I will be at both games, Blaine. So obviously, when I've bought my tickets, but I can't find where they are because they're not appearing in my wallet yet. They appear a few days or whatever before the game. But I will most definitely meet you at the stadium, Blaine, and meet you face to face and say hello to you. Um, Shemtam flexes 9 month member badge saying, great show, great banter, come on you Spurs. Drula says, Bentancur is on the verge of signing a new contract as well. And she says, they are not new signings, but they're committed to the Frank project, which is a good sign. Blaine says, Drula, I'd hope he signs so we can sell on for a higher fee. That's one area we could do with upgrading in the summer. Vidar says Antonio Nusa is one choice in Norway national team. Norway has 4 matches and 4 wins for the World Cup. Marianne, good morning to you, Marianne. No worries at all. I gifted out 10 membership badges yesterday, so you were one of the people I think that got them when I gifted them out yesterday. But you're more than welcome. Welcome back, Marianne. Jess is here. Good morning, Jess. I hope you are well. Nita is here. Nita says, good morning, Jose, and all in the chat. Good morning, Nita. I hope you're well. Colin Blackshaw reckons Tottenham will get to the quarterfinals in the Champions League. And Colin Blackshaw's not a Tottenham supporter.
Fair enough.
David Clark says we don't have enough scoring power in this current squad to have an extended run in the Champions League. And Marianne says Nusa is quite good. Great goal against Italy and also against Bayern, which was disallowed because of a wrongly taken free kick. Nusa is someone that we looked at, or Brentford looked at, or people looked at. He failed a medical, didn't he?
Did he fail
Nusa's someone that was
medical?
looked at, but he failed a medical here in England. Yeah, I think he failed it for Brentford. I think Brentford, we were sniffing. Brentford went in for him. I think it was Brentford, and he failed a medical. But this was over a year ago now, or this was last summer or whatever. He failed a medical, but he should be all right now. So, Nita says, I would also like to see us developing players for the long term, is what Nita says. So you're giving the window a low mark. I think it was. I think you gave it a low mark.
Yeah, I gave it a 5 or 6 out of 10.
So I suppose from what you've given it, right? You've watched the first 3 league. You watched the first 3 league games, and you watched the PSG game. I would think. Yeah, you watched the PSG in the first 3 league games.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah.
What kind of season do you think we're going to have after you've watched the PSG and the first 3 league games?
What season? I think I got what you was trying to say there because you crackled a little bit again, but it's okay. I think you was wondering where are we going to finish and how good of a season we're going to have
against PSG. Where do you think we're going to end up? How do you think we're going to do?
It'll be a top 10 finish. I've said this all along. It'll be a top 10 finish. I'm not going to go, I can't put us any lower than that, but I don't think I can put us any higher than that either, to be honest. And the problem is that we still need a left winger, in my personal humble opinion. Then we're a better squad. And if we had got that left winger in, let's put it like this, if we had got that left winger in, I would have maybe classed it an 8 or a 9 out of 10 if we got that left winger in, because I think we're good everywhere else. It's just that left wing, and we're hunky-dory. And people say we need another CB. I don't personally think we don't need one. I personally thought us even wasting our time in the last couple of days of that window to say that we need a CB over. No, we didn't. We really didn't. We wasted our time. Levy wasted it. Well, ex-Levy chairman was wasting his time looking for a centre back when he should have been looking for a left winger. Okay, I get Savinho, but then there was probably more others out there that could have. There's a load of other left wingers out there who would have fitted our system, and Levy was just pissballing around with looking at Savinho and then a centre back. I think it's ridiculous, personally. But you know, top 10 is what I think, and I think we'll get two cups in the league and the FA Cup.
Okay, so when you're saying top 10, give me a number. 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th. What? Give me a number.
Do you know what? Do you know what? This is hard because even people say after it. Do you know what? If I've got to give you a number, then I'm gonna say 7th.
Okay. So we were doing a show the other day. Can't remember what show it was, but we did a show, right? And somebody said, and I can't remember who it was. So somebody said we have a top 4 back 4. If the 4 defenders remain fit, we have got a top 4 back 4, is what someone said. And that's funny because the last 2 seasons we've conceded so many goals. All right. But this is what someone said. Now, my thoughts on it are, after watching, I knew Frank when he was coming into the club. I know that Frank studies religiously the opponents, always does. And he sets up a team. He sets up a team to play against the opponents. So to exploit their weaknesses and to apply our strengths. Does that for every game. That's why you see us play differently from PSG to Burnley to Man City to Bournemouth. Because he changes everything up, right? So I tell you now that I've seen with the 4 new signings that we've made, you're going to have, if you've got a back 4 like we say we've got, and you've got Paulinho and one other, whether it's Bentancur, Sarr, Bergvall, but Paulinho there as your 2 midfielders. And then your front 3 are Kudos, Simmons, Moani, let's say Solanke up top, or Richarlison. The forward line, the top 4, right, are pretty much as good as many of the teams up there, if they all remain fit. No. Who's not good enough then? So Kudos is not good enough. Simmons is not good enough. Manuani's not good enough, and Solanke's not good enough.
No, Kudos is good enough. Simmons is good enough.
Yeah.
Is actually this is why I'm kind of agreeing with you, but I'm at the same time not.
I'm not asking you to. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm not asking you to agree with me.
Solanke's not good enough. Richarlison's not good enough, but he is better than Tell, if that makes sense. He's not good enough to play in that striker role. I would take Richarlison on that left wing until January now, but then get an upgrade, and even more of an upgrade, and get Richarlison out with Solanke, and get a new striker in, another striker, whether it's on loan or not, and then bring 2 new strikers and have them 2 fighting either side by side with each other, having like the was it the Robbie Keane Berbatov or Defoe Berbatov kind of partnership? I can't remember. I think they both played with Berbatov, didn't they, at one point?
They all played. They all played with each other. We had Keane, Defoe, Berbatov, and Darren Bent. We had four strikers at the time at the club, but we only played 2.
Yeah. And I think if we had like someone who was like a I wouldn't say as tall as Peter Crouch, because I don't think you'll ever get anyone as tall as Peter Crouch up front ever again. But like maybe a Drogba type of height, and then that smaller man next to him, and and then get a new left winger in and get rid of Solanke and Richarlison and bring another striker in the in January on loan, where even if it's only on loan with an obligation to buy at the end of it, and then we've got that, or even an option to buy it. It doesn't have to always be an obligation; it can be an option. The same as with Carlo Moreni. If it's from what I'm hearing, I don't know how true this is, but if it's, I think he's got an option to buy it if we make the Champions League next season. From what I've heard, I don't know how true it is. You'll probably be able to tell me more on that, Jose, because you probably are so far clued up with your contracts. But I would do that in January. Go out, get another a striker, and sell Richie and Solanke, and then get a left winger in as well. And then
So
I will be happy and content.
do you not rate Muani then?
No, I do. I
Oh,
do.
you do. Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's
why haven't we
literally
got
just Richie and Solanke.
Okay, so 3 out of 4 is not bad then. So regardless of who you stick up front, you don't rate the forward line then.
As it stands, if you're talking about Richie and Solanke, no.
Well, it's got to be one of them, but you've got the 3 playing behind them. So you saying that the 4 of them playing in tandem won't be good enough?
No, what I'm saying is because Kulo Morani will be our striker. That's where he plays the best. He plays better up front.
So who's going to play out on the left then? If we
Richarlison.
play a 4-2-3-1, you reckon Richie will play out on the left?
He
Okay.
has to until January. That's what I'm trying to say. He has to play out there until January because I don't trust Tell, I don't trust Odebear, and I certainly don't trust Johnson. I'd rather have Richarlison playing there until January. Yes, I don't rate him in any way, shape, or form, but you've got to have someone out there. And if it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't, until January at least.
Sai's here. Good morning, Sai. Says morning to everyone. So I'll go back a step. In football, you need a lot of luck, right? Tottenham haven't had that in the last couple of years with the amount of injuries that we've had, right? You need a lot of luck. Now, I've got loads of Arsenal mates, both friends that I've grown up with and people that I play football against. And all I ever heard last season is, you can't use that as an excuse. 13 players injured. You can't use that as an excuse, is all I heard from them. Mate, they got 3 injuries at the moment. And all I hear was, yeah, but we got Saka out. Yeah, but we got Havertz out. Yeah, but we got Odegaard out. Yeah, but we got Saliba out. Blah, blah, blah. And only one last night I was speaking to one of my mates, and I'm not going to say the names on it, but I was speaking to one of the boys that I play against, who's an Arsenal supporter. And he's the first one that said it to me in the whole of this summer. I've heard Arsenal moan and bitch about their injuries, but last year we weren't at 13 weren't enough injuries, and they've only got 3 or 4. But that one of the fellas turned around to me last night and he said to me, quite a level-headed guy, said he's so gutted that Levy's left because it gives us a chance now. So they're gutted. He's gutted. But then he said, do you know what? We might have lost them players to injuries, but we've bought practically a new 11 this summer. And when you look back at it, Arsenal have made loads of signings this summer. And he's quite right in the way he said it to me. He turned around and said to me, as I said to me that, yeah, we can't use that as an excuse because we've near enough bought practically a whole new 11. So, and he was quite right in saying that, but he's more of the level-headed Gooner fans rather than the mad fans. Side dancer says, Jose, don't forget about the length of the grass on the ball. So,
do you know what else I've heard, though, Jose? Going back onto what you just said, I've heard a lot of. I've heard like snippets around on the internet going around, and especially on YouTube, and I'm hearing exactly what you said, that Arsenal fans wanted Levy to stay because now they're scared that we're going to get a Saudi Arabian ownership and we're going to overtake them. So then Let me ask you this question then, to not just you, Jose, but to everyone in the chat. Is Arsenal's squad really that good? If they're worried about us getting a Saudi ownership, is their squad really that good, or is it just because all their fans are using this hype, saying over the last couple of seasons, saying that we finished second, we're better than everyone? Is that just hype? What? Because when they're actually saying that they're now worried that we're going to get Saudi ownerships coming in, that they're scared. And apparently
Right.
they're not the
So
only ones that are saying that either. Liverpool fans are
yeah,
saying it. Man City fans are saying it as well.
they're all saying it. For like, you're asking me the question. For me, Arsenal have got a really, really good squad. They have. There's no getting away from it. It's taken Arteta 6 years to get this squad, but they've now got 2 players for every position. You look across their pitch, they've got 2 players for every position. So the squad is good. But I think where the fans are coming from, and this is our rival fans, so it doesn't matter what club it is, where the rival clubs are coming from, Ryan, is that they feel, and they're not even Tottenham Spurs, I think they feel that Levy has held the footballing side back at Tottenham. And the reason why they're gutted
Yeah,
is because you bring, even if it's anybody other than Levy, it doesn't matter who it is, anybody other than Levy would probably think more about the football. And that's where I think they're coming
yeah,
from. And that's the reason why they're saying, look, you've got to watch out for Tottenham, because now they'll bring someone in, or they'll have a model where they do look for the football side of it, where they haven't while Levy's been in charge. And I think that's where it's coming from supporters from other teams. I mean, I play with, last night there was about 3 Man U fans that were saying the same thing to me last night. Loads of Brighton were telling me the same thing. Got a few Scousers there. You got some City, Newcastle. Got a couple of Newcastle boys I play with, and they were saying the same thing. But at the end of the day, I think, in all honesty, right, the way things work out is everybody operates differently, right? I think that the ownership, if you look at when these teams were bought out by these groups, whether they're American, whether they're Saudi, wherever they are, Newcastle were the last team to be bought by one of these kind of groups. And by the time Newcastle were bought, they'd bought in all the rules, the PSR, PFF, QTC, BBC, IEV. They bought everything in, right? So therefore, out of all the big boys, Newcastle seem to be the ones that have been caught because they bought in and they tightened up absolutely everything. So Newcastle are now caught where they can't go and do everything they want to do. Whereby Man City were bought in back in 2008. They can go and buy whoever they want, and they've got their own checkbook. Liverpool with a Fenway Sports Group, or whoever it is, I think it's Fenway at Liverpool. They bought Liverpool years ago, before all these rulings came in. So Liverpool were able to get. Arsenal were bought years ago by Kroenkes and that. So I think that now it becomes harder to. And Roman Abramovich, when he came into Chelsea, I mean, he was the biggest extortionist out of them all. I mean, he put 1.2 billion straight into the club in one hit. So I think it becomes harder and harder for teams now to go down that route where they can play with money, right? Now, at the end of the day, that being said, I will say that Daniel Levy has probably played with a straight bat, right? But Daniel Levy's always played with a straight bat. So when it comes to finances, he's played with a straight bat. Where some of the other clubs, right, have got they've got very clever people in the building, all right, that are able to go around the rules, so to speak. Because you look at some of the teams, you think, how have they got that money for that player? How have they been able to do that? How are they able to spend this? They don't bring that kind of money in. And then you've got people that are they're selling their own football team to each other. They're selling the training ground to each other. They're horse trading players between each other for inflated prices, because it's people that they've got in the background that are very clever at the club. Where Levy has always played with that straight bat, and we've never gone down that route. Now, with Levy gone, whoever comes in at Tottenham, even the people that we've got there now, are they clever enough to play with
Mm.
two bats rather than one? Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah. Can you
that's
just
what
bring up
remains to be seen.
Taylor's comment just quickly? Because I just wanted to just
Tyler,
go over quickly. Yeah, Tyler's. Right. I said this at the beginning, Tyler. Right, and I will just you probably wasn't here when I first said this. I agree with you 100%. Now, because I said I can't. Didn't I say to you, Jose, that I was going to pluck a number out of thin air because I don't know how far in the green we are with the FFP. So let's just say we take £1 billion, right, Tyler, and we just sticking it, plucking it out of thin air, right? We go and spend literally £500 million on players in the next January transfer window. I said this to Jose, and I'll say it again. That we could have a very good team that could actually challenge for a title next season, as early as next season, if we spend that money well. And I don't know if you agree with me on that one, Tyler and Jose. I don't know if you agree with me on that, or just, but obviously it was just a random magical figure, like I said to you at the beginning. I'm just plucking out thin air. But let's just say it is £1 billion, right? And we spend £500 million in the summer window. Do you think we could honestly create a good enough squad to be challenging on all four fronts next season? And this is to take Tyler and everyone else in the chat as well. So, and obviously to you as well, Jose.
my thoughts are right. So look at the Archer says it's creative accounting. It's correctly right. Nita says, as much as I don't dislike us up there, they have structured the long-term plans in place. We ain't yet. Come on, you Spurs. Marianne says that we should have at least bought a left winger, right back, and a striker. David says doesn't matter how much. David says it doesn't matter how much money, how much wealth you have, because unless you buy the right players with the right character and ability, money means nothing. So I've always believed, right, and I'm not a financial expert, but we have got. If I listen to the financial experts, and that's some within our own fan base, and also people from outside of our fan base who actually their profession is all this, finance and accounting, and they sports accountants and that. And I've always read and I've always been led to believe from everything that I've watched over the years, right, is Tottenham are in an absolutely healthy position, even though the stadium has been built, the ground has been built. They've got the payback for the loans and whatever are on long term. They got long term deals with the banks for lasting 25 years for an extremely low, I don't know, 1.2% or something, which is extremely low, you know. And they've done all this, and these sports accountants have said Tottenham have money. They've all said it. Tottenham have money, right? But with them having the money, it depends what they want to go and do with it. I do partly agree a little bit with what David Clark says about you got to get the right people. Yeah, you've got to get the right people in, but first and foremost, you've got to have that money. And I think Tottenham have got the money. We just haven't seen it. You know, I mean, I go back a few years now to when Paratici first came in. And I remember then, I think Conte might have been here at the time as well. And I remember then, Company's House, there was this big thing about Tottenham released, or ENIC released 150 million for a higher stake in the equity further down the line. And we only drew 100 million of that. The other 50 million was never drawn. Where did that go? Nobody knows. I've not heard no one tell me where that 50 million's gone. Then you've got, apparently we bid 70 million for Guehi in January. So there's money there in January of last season. Then we've got, apparently we bid 70 for Savinho. We've bid, we know we had a bid put in for Morgan Gibbs for 60 million. So therefore money must be floating around. But what I will say is that Thomas Frank comes in to the club,
Mhm.
and there's two ways of looking at this. Thomas Frank comes into the club because normally the way that I look at it is that whoever works in your scouting department and whoever works on that side of it does their homework from the minute the transfer window closes till the winter transfer window and beyond. You plan, you approach, you plan for what players you want to go for. Now, if we have done that, right, and even though we brought Thomas Frank in, if the football's going to be the same type of football, then the profile of player and the stuff that you've done should already be in place. And you should say to Thomas Frank, do you fancy this? This is what we've been looking at. This is what the plans that we have. Do you fancy it? Thomas Frank could have turned around and said, no, I don't. What I want to do is I want to look at my own squad and then I'll tell you where I think the holes are and what we need. And that may have happened. So therefore, you've got to go back to the drawing board again. But what you've got to do now going forward is if, let's say, I don't know whether Paratici's coming back, right? But let's say Paratici was coming back now, right? And he was
He
given
is
a
coming
three.
back. I've heard he is coming, definitely coming back. He'll be working again in the next 2 weeks. And the only reason why I know that is because I've heard a certain controversial YouTuber, I won't give no name, but if you know, you know,
It can't be
actually
me
has
because I'm
said,
not controversial.
no, but do you know what? Right, I'll tell you at the end.
Yeah, that's fine. No. But what I'm going to say to you though, Ryan, is there was rumours that Paratici was coming back, but that's why Levy was here because Levy likes Paratici. Levy's now gone, so that's why I'm not sure what's going to happen. But if you hear me, what I'm saying is, if Paratici was to come back now and you gave him a 3-year contract, right, and your manager has a 3-year contract, so they're together 3 years together, then you can build and plan together, right? But Tottenham have got to realise. And have a vision going forward to say this is what we want to do. This is our short, mid, and long-term project or plan, whatever you want to call it. Right? Get yourselves aligned. So the director of football and the manager get themselves aligned with what they want, right, and what they're going to see as their plan going forward. The club then needs to stick to that plan, right? And if you stick to that plan, then you're aligned. So all the work that happens now that the window's closed, if we know that we're short in areas or we find ourselves short in areas, then the work's being done now to either attack it in January, because that'll be short term, or you attack it next summer's transfer window, because that would probably be mid-term to long-term, depending on how you look at it. And then if there's players that you think you can get in a couple of years' time, then that's your longer term planning. But you need to do all that, and it all has to fall in place for you to have, a pathway and a way forward. And I think we need that at Tottenham because the planning at Tottenham has been awful, awful, awful for years, years, and years. And we're not where we are now by design. We're there because we've done so badly in our planning and preparation for transfers for a number of years, and it's been a domino effect that's got us to where we are now. Sorry, James is here. James, good morning to you, James. James, you've missed predictions this week. If you're still with me, James, give me a blanket score for all the games, and I'll put you down for a blanket score. You've missed 2 games because 2 games have now been played. So if you want to do that, James, and you're still with me, I'll put in a blanket score for you. You've still got 23 games to predict on. So that's up to you.
And I'm just going to do a bit of housekeeping for you again, Jose. Everyone smash that like button who hasn't, and who hasn't subscribed, please subscribe, please.
Tyler says we need to see if we maintain this spend up and spending on quality players, because if we do, then we could do some great things, I believe. David Clark says, I think Joe Lewis Trust first went against Levy when he totally failed to get the naming rights for the stadium, even though the most experienced man was brought in because Levy wanted 250 million on a 10-year deal. I think that means not 250 quid. Nita says, so was Man United in a health position till the new owners came in and stuck out the money? Who says United is broke? You kidding me? Archie, yeah, your scores are all in, mate. They were in time. That Paratici isn't the Messiah. David Clark says it's all the time. Same thing. The Paratici isn't the Messiah fan. Think he is. If you look more deeply into his time at Juventus, you will find his buys were 70% failure. You only got Bentancur, Kulu because they got a new coach. David Clark, all I will say to you is I don't see Johan Langer doing absolutely anything. I'm not sure what Langer does at our club apart from smile after every transfer window, get paraded out to do an 8-minute interview where he talks absolute shit. What have you done? What have you done? Well, we bought in blah, blah, blah. Listen, you didn't bring in blah, blah, blah at all because the negotiations were done by other people because you can't close a deal. You can't sell players. You can't buy players. I'm not actually sure what Johan Langer does. Now, I might be wrong because it's not my profession. I might be absolutely wrong. But do you know what? I sit in a majority rather than a minority because the majority ask the same questions and feel the same way that I do about the role and about the job that he's doing there. A bit like when I said, what's Scott Munn doing at Tottenham? What value does he bring? What does he actually do? And I was right about Scott Munn because they put him on gardening leave and he's out of the club now. And I've got a feeling that Langer's that type of person as well. Unless someone can tell me, and it might be a professional that has to tell me, but from layman's looking into it, I don't see what he does. And I know that I sit in a majority here. I don't sit in a minority.
Jose,
And
I can tell you what he does. I can tell you what Langer does. He sits there twiddling his thumbs all day, every day of the week, yeah, right, and steals a living. That's what he does, mate. That is exactly what he does, and that's not even telling half the truth. That's telling you the full blown face value truth.
so that's two of us. You've got Driller already saying Langer is a fraud. So that's three of us. Listen, the majority don't know what Langer does. So anything other than Langer, as Tottenham fans, we're going to think are better. And for me, Paratici is better than Langer.
Mm.
Langer followed Levy's instructions to bring in youth players, so his hands were tied. Okay, do you know what, David? Right, I'm going to have to go back to this now. David, what did Langer do at Aston Villa? What, was his hands tied in Aston Villa as well? Because when he left Aston Villa, David, they never stood in his way. Normally, when you get rid of your director of football, you put them on gardening leave. And that means that they cannot go to another club for a period of time. When we went to Aston Villa for Langer, Langer said, yes, you can take him straight away. He wasn't even put on gardening leave. That, for me, red flag straight away. And at the end of the day, it's not Langer's fault because he got hired by Levy and whoever at Tottenham. So it's not his fault because he was hired. But the geezer's a fraud. He is at Tottenham and he has been at Aston Villa as well. Aston Villa couldn't wait to get rid of him. That is Langer for you. That's Langer following Levy's instructions because Levy wasn't managing and he wasn't in charge at Aston Villa. And at Aston Villa, he couldn't get deals over the line. He couldn't sell players either. And that's why they got rid of him and they brought Monchi in. So, David, I won't have Langer follows Levy. No, Langer didn't follow Levy when Langer was at Aston Villa. But they're just my opinions, right? And my opinion on Langer is, and as I said, I know that I sit in the majority when I say that I don't know what he does. And anyone's got to be better. Anyone has to be better than Langer. Now, if Paratici is the name that we're all grabbing onto, then so be it. For me, I'd rather have 15 Paraticis than have 100 Langers. Simple. But anyway, I'll move on. I digress. I digress from that.
And that's why I call Paratici the Big Don, because he when he was working with us the first time round, he got deals done with. Also, not just getting deals done, he was spinning plates left, right, and centre, and up and down as well, and diagonally and horizontally, and every other way you could personally put it. And that was literally the way that it was being done. And I agreed with that sort of model, to be honest, because then no one knew who we were going for. And that's why when he comes back in, he's going to do the same thing again. And do you know what? It might even, I know people. There's going to be people out there who don't like Paratici for what's happened with Juventus. I don't care what he's done because we've been too nice in windows, Jose, in my opinion, right? And look, I know people don't usually like to call it what it is, but if he's been accused and he's been a bit of a crook, right, in times, because that's what he has been, right, from what he done at Juventus, quite clearly, because he wouldn't have been found guilty otherwise. But because we've been too nice in windows in the past, we haven't. When we see a crook, we're like, not a crook in a bad way, but just like he doesn't do things by the book. Now, we need someone who's not going to do things always by the book, because being nice, but it's like in life, right? The nice guy always loses.
Yeah, they do. Right, Marianne
So
says, there, you took the words out of my mouth, Jose. Was going to ask what Langer did at Villa and what he has done at Spurs. Archer then says, I'm also convinced that Johan Langer is a paid actor. Archer's on fire this morning, isn't he? And then Drula says Levy put in another crook. Levy put in another crook to take the heat off himself, is what Drula says. Archer says, nice guys finish last.
exactly, and that's what I say. Nice guys always finish last, and I mean, when Druder says Levy put another crook to take the heat off himself, yeah, he did, but then the crook in Paratici, yeah, right, is an absolute better crook than what Levy was ever, in my opinion. And you don't have to agree with me, Druder, and neither does anybody else. But when it comes to what Archer has said, and he's just repeated, regurgitated what I just said. Nice guys always finish last, and that's why we need someone like a Paratici, who is the biggest crook out there, to actually start getting more deals over the line. I don't care how it gets done, because we've been too nice, Jose. Would you not agree though? We've been too nice in the windows, and that's why we lose half our, like, especially this year, right? We was dealing with a crook in the Forest manager, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. I'm not saying he is, and I'm not saying he's not.
The Forest owner, not manager.
Yeah, that's it, right? Yeah, the owner, right? In my opinion, he was a crook, right? And then when you look at Paratici, if we had Paratici, he would have got that deal done. He wouldn't have cared. He would have said, I'm taking Morgan Gibbs, right? Because you've agreed this deal with us, and we are taking him now, and we're having that medical. And he would have said, I don't know if that's what he would have said exactly, but it would have been somewhere probably along those lines. And then the same with the Eze deal. We would have got that deal over the line by hook or by crook, whichever way you want to look at it, right? That Eze deal would have been done 3 weeks before Arsenal even got their injury. We would have had that signed, sealed, and delivered. And we probably still would have got someone like a Xavi Simmons in. Probably.
Yeah.
But look, that's just, I mean, what do you think though? Do you agree that we've been soft though over the last 25 years?
I don't know about being soft. There's different levels of soft. I think what you're saying is that we haven't brought in the players that we should have, maybe, and I agree there. But as for being soft, we still don't know, right? Unless someone can tell me different, we still don't actually know what happened with the Morgan Gibbs White deal. I don't know what happened with it. I still don't know. I'm at a loss of what happened. All of a sudden you've got Fabrizio in the mud, right? Because he has been. Fabrizio's got so much wrong about Tottenham this year, it's beyond belief. I'm not sure because I don't follow any other teams whether he's got it wrong about other teams, but he's definitely got it wrong about Tottenham on a fair few occasions. So what Romano used to do with with all these contacts and stuff like that, I think Romano has now built up his fan base. He's got his X account, because he gets paid for his X account. He gets paid for his YouTube channel, and I think he's milked that cow dry. He was the original. He was the OG at it. Other people have followed suit, and at the end of the day, he's rinsed people dry with their money, and fair play. It's a business. He's done really, really well. But I've not seen anybody come out and 100% explain so I understand what's actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because either there
Yeah.
was a release fee clause or there wasn't a release fee clause. You know,
Well,
at the end
no,
of the day, if there was,
there definitely was a release fee clause in there,
okay,
Jose. But
did we meet
uh,
the release fee clause?
it depends who you ask. If you
There
ask
we go.
Tottenham fans,
Okay, so
if
you
you ask
understand where
Tottenham
I'm coming
fans, yes,
from.
we did. If you ask Forest fans, no, we didn't.
So you understand with me exactly where I'm coming from. We don't know what
Yeah.
happened with that deal, right? It seems a bit weird that the fake Romano would come out and turn around and say, uh, here we go, medical tomorrow. So it was on a Thursday, here we go, medical tomorrow on a Friday. And then all of a sudden,
Mm,
it dragged on and on and on. And I remember putting in a few chats. I put in a few chats something along the lines of, here we go to a medical. Oh no, that was the Eze deal. The Eze deal. It was like we're monitoring the situation. To we're very interested. To we're going
mm,
all in for him. To it's almost done. Final points. To them, we're looking to uh, player exchanges. And I turned around and I said in the group, I wrote all that and I said, does this not sound really weird and fishy to everyone? Anyway, I put that in the morning. I wish I hadn't. I put that chat in the morning, about 10:30 in the morning. And at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I was saying, Eze, here we go to Arsenal. So, at the end of the
mm,
day, it is what it is. But to me, as I keep saying over and over again, yeah, we may not. You can have all the money in the world, but you've got to make the right decisions. And to make the right decisions, you've got to have the
yeah,
right people in place, and you've got a plan for this. We don't seem
mm,
to ever do that. We seem to be doing it at a whim at the end of the window every season. So, you want to see a leopard. What do they say? A leopard doesn't change his spots. Well, we're
yeah,
hoping that some of our leopards have had spots painted on them that we can just wash off, and then it means you can change their spots. Because other than that, you need different people to come and look at this. Um,
mm,
I think that there's a lot of times that we've gone cheap. We've gone for option L instead of option A or
mm,
B. We've gone for option L, and
yeah,
at the end of the day, this is systemic. It's historic, and it's happened. The facts are there. I say to people, follow the facts, and they will lead you to evidence. And the evidence has already happened
mm,
because everything has already happened in the past. We can talk about
mm,
the past. It's because it's happened. It's factual now because it's happened. We're just
yeah,
hoping that things change for us moving forward because
yeah,
obviously our hearts bleed when Tottenham are not doing well and when we're being left behind as supporters. That's why we're invested. We're invested emotionally and physically into our club. And at the end of the day, something bad happens to our club, then we're all going to feel it and get affected by it.
yeah. Do you know what? Do you want my person to? I don't know if this will help you clarify up the Morgan Gibbs White any better. But if you want my opinion on it, right, from where I've seen it, I said because I was fooled by it as well, right? By the end of it, and this is why I honestly don't blame Tottenham for it, right? I believe that Marinakis was the one that kept changing everything around because he had said, well, we've already lost Elanga, right? We want more money now because we've lost Elanga, right? And I believe it was Marinakis' fault for why we did not get Morgan Gibbs right. It was 100% his fault. We done everything right, and it was definitely because if you look at that video, yeah, right, that he done when Marinakis was there, when Gibbs White done that one. I even said then it was like a hostage video. So that's why I blame Marinakis for that. I don't know if that clears anything up for you, Jose, but that's my personal opinion on it.
It doesn't clear anything up for me because at the end of the day, I don't know what happened. We can all speculate, we can all have a chat about it, but I don't
Mm,
know anybody that knows exactly what happened because that's not come out in the wash yet. A bit like
Mm.
we're all talking about what happened on Thursday with Daniel Levy stepping down, right? It will come
Yeah,
out in the wash, but at the moment, we're all speculating on what's going to happen, what happened then. Was he pushed? Was he shoved? Did he know about it? It's all speculation at the moment. We won't know
yeah,
until the machine stops and we take the clothes out the dryer, because at the moment that machine's
yeah.
just spinning. But then I think the Morgan Gibbs White machine is still spinning. We don't exactly know what's happened, and until we find
Mm.
out what's happened, everything that we come up with is we will become super sleuths, right? And we all want to talk about what we
Yeah,
think, and rightly so, because we've all got opinions. We want to put our opinion forward on what we
yeah.
think may or may not have happened. But for me, like I said, I need to see. I need for it to wait and come out basically, and
But
find
then
out
can
exactly
that
what
take
happened.
years though one day? Couldn't that take
So
years to find out? And when you have to form your own opinion, I know you've probably got your own opinion on what you think has happened now, right? But
yeah,
wouldn't you have to form at some point a definitive opinion on what you would say? Because that's my definitive opinion, because I don't think we're ever going to hear what's happened there. So I've already formed my definitive opinion, and I'm not saying you should now, and I'm not saying that anyone in this chat should either. But what I'm saying is, at some point, if we don't hear nothing, we have to surely form a definitive opinion on what we personally think has happened there, because we, not personally, but our own opinions need to be at some point formed definitively about that Morgan Gibbs White deal, because otherwise we're just going to be waiting around until the chickens roost, and they'll never roost. Personally, so
I
that's why
I
I'm saying
I
at some point.
I won't at some point make a definitive opinion. At the end of the day, I would rather wait to see what happens. I've got an idea. I mean, to be honest, with the Morgan Gibbs White, I'm going to be brutally honest. I have no
Yeah,
idea. I have no idea. I have no understanding whatsoever on whether anything, whether a release clause was there, whether the release clause was triggered. If there was, then why would a release clause not be accepted? I can't understand it, because, if you meet the release fee
because
clause, according to people that know
Forrest
about
wanted more money.
contracts,
That's why,
yeah, but
because
according
Forrest
to
wanted
people
more
that
money out of him.
But according to people that know about contracts, right? And I know about contracts, but my job, we don't do release fee contracts. But
Yeah,
if you're under contract, and part of the contract is, let's say a release fee clause is in a contract, and that means that the usual understanding to me is that if that's in there, it just means that if you meet that release fee clause, then you can start having player to player chats. You don't have to inform the club, or you don't have to go through the club first, because you meet the requirement that's stipulated. Now, if that's the case, right, then why weren't we allowed to speak
mm.
to him? Why weren't we allowed to go ahead? And for that, I can't form an opinion, because to me, my brain's scrambled. I don't know whether we did meet it, whether we didn't meet it. And for me, I need to wait for it to come out of the wash. When it comes out of the washing machine and the washing machine stops and we find out. Now, we could find out now that Levy's not part of the club. Who's to say that
Mm.
something won't come out now and we find out sooner rather than later what happened with that deal? You know, who's to say that Morgan Gibbs White doesn't have a falling out with Marinakis in the very near future and then decides to talk about it? Who's to say that the agent won't talk about it? Who's to say that intermediaries that involved won't talk about it? You know, whether
Mm.
we find out about it in the next month, 3 months, 6 months, surely we'll find out what happened. Someone will come out and say what happened. And a bit like with Daniel Levy leaving now, we're hearing lots of different things, you know, and I will say, a lot of things are positive for a lot of the fans. The positivity is coming that Levy is gone. So on Thursday
Yeah,
night, there would have been a lot of people that would have been very positive about the
yeah,
news that Levy's going, right? But then,
yeah.
and then people may also be positive about the fact that, it seems promising that the Joe Lewis children want to take the club forward. Then you're going to have people that have an opinion that the club might be part sold, might be fully sold. Then you've got people have an opinion on the naming rights. People have an
Mm.
opinion on what training kits we're going to get and what deals we're going to do with the sponsorships.
Yeah.
This is all conjecture, and it's all us thinking, because we've all got opinions, so we're all thinking like this, and we're all we've got our thoughts. But until the washing machine stops and you start pulling the clothes out, that's when we'll start finding out more and more. And I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot that's going on that we don't know about.
Oh
Sometimes
yeah.
sometimes there could be things that are going on. Do you know what? That we've our opinions, we've guessed it right,
Mm.
and then you find out that you were right. So no one's right and wrong. We're all entitled to have their opinions and our thought processes. But
Yeah.
for the Morgan Gibbs White one, I'm going to be brutally honest, Ryan. I really don't know what happened with that deal, and nothing has come out to
Yeah.
tell me definitively one way or the other who was in the right, who was in the wrong, or what the timeline was of what happened. And that's where I
Mm.
stand on it. I
Yeah.
can't. I just don't understand it, mate. I really don't.
No, and that's fair enough. But but what I find, right, like people's like what Vader Vader's just said, or I don't know how to pronounce the name. Where he says that Xavi, you will see we made the best. I believe that Xavi's the best. I haven't said that Xavi wasn't a signing that isn't a good signing. I haven't been on any show that I've where I've been on, even on my own show. I don't believe I've ever said that Xavi will not be the best signing that we've had. I believe that Xavi Simons was one of the better signings, and that's why I believe. But then I'm just annoyed that I can only form my opinion on what I've got in front of me at the moment with the Morgan Gibbs White stuff, in what's in front of me. And my personal opinion is that Forest were wrong, but I've never said that Xavi will not be one of the. We haven't signed a very very good attacking midfielder there. I don't think every time you've seen me on shows, Jose. I don't know if you see me say that Xavi wasn't the best, one of the best signings that we could have made.
Yeah, but it all comes down to opinions. Nita says
Yeah.
Vinay and Charrington ain't no mugs. Read up about them. Hopefully, we're going to move better as a football club. Um, who cares? Daniel Levy's a businessman without a footballing brain. Razzle Dazzle says blaming Levy for the Morgan Gibbs White is not correct, because a club can still withhold permission, but not unlawfully withhold permission for the club to talk to them. And if Morgan Gibbs White wanted the move, he should have taken legal action against Nottingham Forest to get the move. Nita says, I wish him well. I never thought he would be removed because of all the projects we've got going on. Razzle Dazzle says, if Spurs had said we reached the release clause, it's self-admittance to knowing about it and breaking the NDA.
Mm.
And Nita says, Daniel Levy was set up. And Jess has kindly put your link into the chat.
Yeah.
So people
Thank you,
go over.
Jess.
People go over and
I'm trying to
support.
actually hit 50. I'm trying to hit that 50 subs mark at the moment. With I've actually been doing a lot on my own at the moment because my co-host is not I can't say too much, but isn't in the best place to be doing YouTube at the moment. So
Right. So where are you now? What number are you on now?
we're on 32 subs at the moment. We need to get that up to 50 to
So
make my
32,
co-host
30,
a bit better.
32 at the moment means that we need another 18 for Ryan
Yeah.
and for Ryan's channel, Playful Spurs. So if people would like to go over there, we've got 20 people watching at the moment. If 18 of them haven't subscribed, then please subscribe over to Playful Spurs and get Ryan to that 50. Once you get to 50, you can do things. You can do more things than what you can do at the moment. I think you need 50 minimum set up to do things. So please go over and support him at Playful Spurs. Links in the chat, like I said. Thank you, Jess, for putting in there.
Thank you, Jess, as well.
So,
Thank you. I know you subscribed, Jeff, and thank you. Thank you for putting the thing in the chat. Thank you. Much appreciated, love.
Drew has just subbed here.
Oh.
So what I will say is, is it's for me, unlike it's probably my I don't know. It could be my positive nature, Ryan. I'm going to say,
Cool.
but I think that you need a lot of luck in football. Is what I'm going to say. I'm not talking about the board now. I'm talking about the players, the people we have on the pitch.
Yeah.
You need a
Yeah.
lot of luck in football. You need a lot of luck in
Mm-hmm.
football. Swim Masters just
Cool.
subscribed to you as well, so you've got another sub there as well.
Oh, thank you.
So and good morning, Swim Master. I hope you're well, sir. Nice to see you here. With the football side of it, I actually think,
Yeah.
and I believe, my belief is that Tottenham will have a better season than what a lot of people think. But the caveat I will say, it goes without saying, you need a lot of luck. So that lot of luck for me is not having loads of injuries. If we don't have loads of injuries and we're cut with the gods, the injury gods are on our side, then I think that we can have a good season, because if we can remain and get our players fit, right, keep our players fit. And when I mean keep our players fit, it's Thomas Frank. I trust Thomas Frank, right? I do. And I trust that Thomas Frank will rotate the team when it's needed. But if the
Mm-hmm.
main core of your players are fit, right, and you don't let them get into the red zones, and you are rotating them when they do need rotating, because at the end of the day, if we're playing 3 games a week, they might have to miss half a game. They might have to miss a game. They might have to miss, they might only be able to play 15 minutes coming on as a sub. As long as you keep the players ticking over, if we keep our starter players, or the majority of our starter players, as fit as possible and on the pitch, I think Tottenham will have a better season than what most people think. That's my opinion. I think that for an 11, so a starting 11, I think we're as strong as a lot of the teams around us. I really do. We might not have the
Right then.
depth. We might not have the depth that others have, right? But as for a starting 11 and I'd say a starting 14 or 15 players, I think we've got decent at the moment. We're as decent as we can be at the moment. Yes, I agree. We might be missing some players in certain positions, but because we've got players that can play multiple positions, not my preferred choice to do this, but because we've got players that can play at multiple positions, it means we can cover the gaps. Providing everyone's fit, we can cover the gaps that we end up getting. It's all about luck. It really is. Football is about luck. In order to win things, you have to have some luck along the way. And what we need is, for more than anything else, after the horrendous 2 years that we've had with injuries, the one bit of luck we do need is we need luck with injuries. And if we have the luck with that, I think Tottenham will have a better season than what most people think.
Okay, but then when you say we'd have a better season than what most people think, now being realistic, right? This is just my personal opinion. I've said that I think we will finish 7th. Do you honestly think if we keep all these people fit for the season, right, or for a majority of the season, do you think we could finish higher than 7th though, with the quality as it stands right here, right now, not in after January, right now, as of 11:48?
Yes,
You think so?
and yes. If it comes down to, and it does, comes down to the lap of the gods with injuries. If we don't suffer major injuries, right? And when I'm talking major, I'm talking about losing half a squad like we did the last 2 seasons. If we lose, we're going to lose players, because obviously we've already lost Dragusin, we've lost Takai, Madison, Kulusevski. We've already lost these people, right? So they're already out. We've got to wait for these players to come back. 2 of our creative players we know are not going to be back till the new year, minimum, right? The 2 defenders could be back within the next couple of weeks to the next couple of months, right? If we don't suffer any more major injuries, right, then I think that we would do. I think we'd do well. I think that it's different because you've got Thomas Frank at the helm, but it's different because we're going to be playing 3 times a week. So Villa, so Newcastle, so Forest, So are Palace. There's a lot of teams that have got to play this 3 times a week scenario. Then you've got teams like
Yeah.
Man United who'll only be playing once a week, right? So those in and around us, right? I think you take your hats off straight away and you say, right, the top 4, if it's correct and they play to their maximum, the top 4 are good. You know, it's a cartel at the moment. It will be City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Chelsea if they play
Yeah.
right to their maximum, because they've got the stronger squads, right? So if they don't get injuries, then they should be in the top 4. Even with injuries, because their squads are far greater and far deeper, they should be like in the top 4 anyway. Even with injuries, we
Yeah.
we haven't got as strong a squad as the top 4 teams, but equally we have. I don't think we've got a worse squad than Newcastle, Villa, Forest, Palace, Man United. I don't think we've got a worse squad than them teams, and I just think it comes down to the injuries, and it comes down to as well how quickly our boys can gel. So the ones that need gelling now are Simmons and Moani. Now, they're both very, very good footballers in their own rights, but it's about gelling with the team. And someone said in the chat earlier, when you bring in so many players, you gotta give these time for these players to bed and get in. And we see Kudos. I've seen Kudos twice now at the stadium. Kudos excites me. Kudos gets me out of my
Yeah.
seat. Not that I sit down. Not that I sit down when I'm at the stadium. The seats, the tickets that I've had have been in the standing areas, or the safe standing areas. So I've been in the south stand,
Yeah.
standing, watching the game. So it now remains to be seen. I just think that injuries aside, if we don't get all these mad injuries, and we have a healthy squad, I think we finish higher than what people think we do, because I think we've bought well. Can I say Marianne has subbed to you as well? So it's 3 people that
Yeah.
said they've
Thank you,
subbed to you.
man.
I've put it back up here. Playful Spurs. He needs 18 subs to get to 50. He was on 32 before the show
Yeah.
started.
50.
Can we please? I've now got 27 people watching. If people haven't subscribed to Ryan, please go over and help Ryan out and let's get him to his 50. Jess has now subbed to you as well. So that's another one.
Oh, I thought Jess had subbed to me before. I thought you subbed to me before, Jess. No.
She says yes. You're on 45 now. You're 5 short.
Oh, beautiful.
You're 5
Five more
short.
people. Come on.
Paul Pablo says, "Hi Jose, have we our Tottenham back, or was Levy taking the flak for Joe?" Yeah, we've discussed this. It's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both. Shemtam has subbed to you as well. What is the reason for the injuries? Not enough rotation as a weak bench. Vidar says 5th. Drula says 5th. At the end of the day, all I can say, Paul, because you're asking the question, Paul, is like I said about anything. I think we've bought in the right direction. So the players that we've bought this summer, I think that's why I'm not knocking the winner, because I think we've bought in the right direction. Signing or extending contracts for Cuti Romero as your club captain and Jed Spence is a sign that, and it is a sign that the players are following Frank. It is a sign.
Yeah.
If Frank's your manager, if people didn't believe in what you were doing, they wouldn't sign. So they're believing in Frank, which is a positive again. All right. So that's also a
Yeah.
positive. So Nita has just subbed to you as well. I've got all these people just saying they've just subbed to you. So you got another.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's part of the
Thank
45,
you.
but that you just sub. But we need another 5 for Ryan. Or we did need another 5. So for me, we haven't got the squad that Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, and Arsenal have got, but we sit as I speak. I believe that we sit in amongst the others, right? You're 3 away, says Jess. We sit amongst the others. Ryan's getting excited here. Look, people, come on, let's sub over to Ryan. Look how happy and over the moon he's another Tottenham supporter. He wants to do his bits and pieces. Get him the 50 subs he needs to go away and grow and fly like the rest of us have done in the past. So, yeah, so as I was saying,
We're 2 away now by looks of it, because Hot God's just subbed. Come on, please, everybody.
and can I say good morning to Hodgod? I hope you're well, sir. Nice to see you here. So yeah, as I said, so to me, yeah, if the injuries aside, I think that we've got a decent. If I was allowed to include the injuries we've currently got, I'd say we've probably got a good 18 players there that that we can rely on. I'd say we've got a good 18 players, but at the end of the day, we're going to need a bit of luck. But I just think with the players that we've got, when you're looking at right, no disrespect, right, and I'm going to say I'm going to say no disrespect, and the reason why I'm going to say no disrespect is because Johnson won us the Europa League. All right, Johnson was our top goal scorer last season, so I ain't going to put flavour on Johnson. But if you look at Johnson, Tell, and Odebert, right, as your three behind the striker, right, you would say, that's flimsy at best. All right, that's flimsy.
Yeah.
You're putting a lot. You're putting a lot of unknowns in there, a hell of a lot of unknowns. But then when you change that and you go to Kudos, Simmons, Moani, you then turn around and start thinking to yourself, right, that's different gravy. We're now cooking with gas, right? And that's why I'm saying to myself that we should have a good chance of, keeping our players healthy. We'll get there. I don't know how many he's on at the moment, but I really would like to get him to 50. So if anyone's just joining us now, sub over to Ryan and let's see if we get him to 50 subs. I think he was a 2 or 3 away. So if we can get another 2 or 3 over there, get 50, I'm sure that Ryan, you can see the smile on his face already, because he was on 32 when we started the show. So you can see the smile on his face already. Come on, we know that the people here that watch us and the people that I've got that come to this channel always do help and support other channels. So let's give Colin Blackshaw subs to you as well.
I think Shem was kind of joking around a little bit because he's saying, "Oh, look how excited he was! Hell, he's excited and happy just unsubscribed."
Yeah, he's jesting. He's jesting. I don't know how many are you on now. Do you know? You don't know, do you?
I can't tell whilst I'm live with you.
Swim Master says you're on 49.
Colin, thank you, Colin.
Swim Master says you're on 49. We need one person, just one more person to sub to Ryan to hit 50, and that means that he would have gained 8. If you're saying you're on 32 before you came on, then you would have gained 18 subs. So you've gained 17. You need one more person to sub over.
That would make one more person to sub over.
And I've got no doubt. I think everybody can see on your face. Everybody can see it on your face that that you would make your day. So please sub over to Ryan and let's see if we can get him there. 51 you've got.
Oh, thank Lord. I'm happy for the weekend now. I'm happy. If you want to keep subbing, that's fine.
There's
Be my guest.
Jess has been monitoring it for you. She says you're on 51.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Jess,
for monitoring that. Right, is there anything you want to say to your newfound gang?
Do you know what? Thank you for everyone that's got us to 50. Like, I know we haven't been going for too long, but there's going to be a lot coming out soon, and it's really interactive. So once I've got actually a video coming out sometime next week, either Monday or Tuesday next week. Actually, doing a pre-match match build-up for the West Ham game. Actually, with a mate of mine who's actually a West Ham fan. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. So you'll get ready for an actual real good time for that one. And if you all want to come in and you want to tell him how deluded he is as a West Ham fan, be my guest, because he's always giving me banter every year saying that Kudos ain't good. So it'd be great if you guys could come and give me a bit of support for this one.
So we've got
thank you again, everybody.
Good. I'm going to say it now because it's 11:59. But it's a good morning to you, Graham. I hope you're well, sir. I hope you're well. Marianne says Johnson has one redeeming feature, and that is that he has a nose for scoring goals. Apart from that, he's not a good footballer. Sadly, at the end of the day, to make a cake, you need a load of different ingredients, don't you?
Yep. You need
To make the cake.
flour, eggs, but sugar. But you also, I tell you what else you do need is a happy smile when you're doing it, because then that way you're enjoying something you're doing.
So you need a lot of ingredients to bake a cake, and
Yeah.
Johnson, to make a football team and to make a squad, you need lots of different ingredients, and that is players, and he is one of the players that we've got at the club at the moment. It remains to be seen how Frank decides to use him, and and what he brings to a Thomas Frank setup and system. We know what he brought to an Ange setup and system, and regardless of what people may think or may not think about Ange played a certain system, and in that system, this boy was your top goal scorer, and this boy won you the Europa League. This boy gave Tottenham fans, both old and new, both previous generations and the newer generations, gave them a fantastic 48 hours. I will never forget the 21st of May in Bilbao, and I will never forget Friday the 23rd of May when we had over 250 million people line the streets up at Tottenham for the parade, and that was given to you because of a goal from Johnson. He gave you that trophy. He gave you them 48 hours, and at the end of the day, that should never ever be forgotten, because I speak to everybody that's a Tottenham fan. Everybody that's a Tottenham fan, how did you feel for them 48 hours in May? I bet you were on top of the world. I bet that cockerel was pumping out your chest, and Johnson gave you that. So I see people poo-pooing Johnson. Yeah, Johnson's not a winger. Yeah, Johnson's not a creative footballer, but the one thing he does, he knows where the onion bag is, and he puts the onions into the bag. And that's the thing that he was doing for us last season. He's already scored this season, people, as well. So at the end of the day, he's not been starting, or has he? No, yeah, he has been starting. Yeah, he has been starting, but he's also scored goals. Archer says, just noticed in the Belgian league, a team in the sixth is called sixth. It's called Zebra, and the team in fifth is called Crossing. Colin Blackshaw says Johnson suited Forest. Spurs are too big for him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually agree with that, to be honest. And do you know what? It's funny because I don't know. I don't want Johnson, to be honest. I don't like him, but I can't deny that he's done what he's done for us. But he can't cross the ball. He can't do anything else apart from being a tapping merchant. And that, to me, should be the striker's job, not Johnson's job. He needs to be putting that ball into the box, and he hasn't. He can't do it. He can't take his man on like Lennon could, and I'll stick to that until Johnson goes. But yeah, I mean, that's just my personal opinion. You don't have to, like I say, everyone's got their own opinions. You don't have to agree with them, but at least that's just the way that I see Johnson, to be honest.
Yeah. So just messaging someone back who's just put all their predictions for today into the yesterday's stream, because I always let people know that I've received them and done them. So that's done now as well.
But what I will say is, though, Jose, like I said at the beginning of the show, is that I do honestly think that we will win a League Cup this year and an FA Cup. And that's where I stand with that. I feel like they're good enough to probably get 2 of those cups this year.
So you think we're going to win both?
Yeah.
Or one of? Are you saying one of or both?
Both. No, both.
Tell you what, you're more optimistic than me, mate. God. I said we could be in for a good season, but I was just talking about a league finish. I wasn't talking about any trophies.
No, I've already said. I said this for the last few weeks, especially on on Dave's show, I've said that. I said that to him that we're getting both the FA Cup and the League Cup.
Is this
But
when you said the few weeks? Is this before the window closed? So it's before we even signed Moani and Simmons, because they were both
no,
signed
no,
really
it
late in
wasn't.
the
Oh,
window.
sorry, what am I talking about? It wasn't a few weeks ago. It was on Wednesday's fan show. What am I talking about? See, I've
Okay,
had a long week this week.
so you've made your decision based on when the window closed because all the players are all in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, fair enough.
yeah. And I think that we can get both. And I honestly think that we'll get to it, like I said at the beginning of this show, and I've said this on Dave's channel as well, that we will get to either a quarters or a semi-final of the Champions League. It depends because, like I said at the beginning of this show, it depends on if we get a favourable draw in that competition or not. But we will finish in the automatic spot, and we won't have to play in a playoff match. I don't think. Not now.
We've
I
got a
did at
couple of
the beginning of the window.
Yeah, we got a couple of questions from Swim Master, which I've now starred, and I'm going to ask them before we finish.
Mhm.
But I've also got Graham says Johnson is not just a tapping merchant. Some of his finish has been sublime. He's a great finisher. If you look at the amount of chances that he gets and he converts, without looking at the stats and that, I think his ratio is pretty high on the chances he gets and converts. And yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, Graham, you need different ingredients to bake that cake.
Mm.
And the same with football. To make a team successful, you need different ingredients. And he does provide a different ingredient to a lot of the other players that we've got. Archer says Johnson has to be a false nine, a bench option, really. We need better.
Mm.
And Julia says the objective of football is to win. So if a goal goes in as a tap-in, who cares? Swim Master says same
Fair
question.
enough.
Oh, is it the same question? And Marianne says, Julie, yes, quite right. Goals are all that matter, not the way they are scored. Did you ask the same question to us?
I think so.
No, he hasn't. He's asked two different ones. Right.
Oh.
So his first question is, I think. Oh no, it is the same question. Right, hold on. I think Frank going to be a great manager for us. An early questioning on our tactics. I lost to Bournemouth. It was going not good basically early on. Do you think Frank changed things enough then? And the other way he's framed it is the Bournemouth match. I'm all for Frank and think he's got a huge library of tactics. But early on during Bournemouth, we weren't playing well. Do you think Frank changed enough tactics then?
Ooh. Oh, look, I'm guessing this is where it's going to be me having to answer, even though I'm giving him a free pass for the whole season. Right. Okay. So, Jose, can you actually answer this first whilst I get my head around it? Just
Yeah.
because I don't want to say the wrong thing. So, if you can please answer first.
Yeah. Mr. M's here says morning. Good afternoon for you too, Mr. M. It's 12:07 here in England, but I will say good afternoon to you, sir. I hope you are well. Right. So for me to answer the question for Swim Master, I was at the game, Swim Master, and I was in the south stand, and I was right in front of the goal, but just above the goal, so you could see the whole pitch. For me, what I felt and what I did on my short videos and stuff from the stand, because every time I go to a home game, I put shorts out there. And what I said Tottenham were slow, 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 and then with a dose of slower and slower. And what I mean by that is, even I saw it against Burnley as well. The way that Thomas Frank sets up the teams, it's as if he wants them to have the possession, slow the game right down, so the players can then view their options that they've got around the pitch. Because Bournemouth came in with a high press. Bournemouth were press monsters. They pressed us all over the place, and I felt that every time, for the first 70 minutes, I'm going to say, every time Vicario got the ball right at the back, and for me, I will say this is not new news. It's going to be old news. It's chip paper news. I keep saying that Vicario for me is still a weak link as goalkeeper. When I saw him in the warm up because I got to the ground early and I was there for about an hour in my seat before the game started, so I could see all the warm ups going on. When he was doing the warm ups and they were rolling the ball to him from all different parts of the pitch, so the coaches and the other goalkeepers, they all took it in turns, but they sort of like funneled out at diagonals, right? And so the goalkeeper was in the box. They funneled out at diagonals, which meant that some of the coaches ended up being like 10, it looked like at least 10 yards inside the other half. And they were passing the ball to him to his feet. And then he was getting it out of his feet, both left and right. And he was pinpoint accuracy, playing balls to these players over the halfway line, to these coaches. So before the game, he looked really good with his feet. Now, when it came to the game, and I noticed this against Burnley as well. So I've been to the 2 home games, and I noticed this in both games, but more so against Bournemouth, where Bournemouth's press was a lot higher than Burnley's. Every time Vicario got the ball, he slowed the game right down. He invited the press, right? And by inviting the press, all he ever did, and you could see it even from behind the goal, his body shape, everything, you could see that his out ball was always Mickey van der Ven. He never played it out to Romero on the right, never played it out to Porro, never played it out to, or hardly ever played it out to Spence, but he always used Mickey van der Ven. But when he was using Mickey van der Ven, the press was already on, and they had a man over on the press. And all they did is they shuffled the press across. So if they were pressing on their right, our left, if we then try to transfer the ball to the other side, they just automatically move the press onto the other side. So they were press monsters. Bournemouth got it tactically right. But as I said, I felt that Vicario telegraphed a lot of what he did. The other thing for me, and this happened again against Burnley, right? And we beat Man City 2-0 and we beat Burnley 3-0, but we lost to Bournemouth. But what I saw in the 2 games that I've been to so far is that when we get the ball on the left-hand side, i.e. Jed Spence gets the ball, when Jed Spence is progressing up the pitch, he doesn't play the ball out further on to Johnson. So what he was trying to do is he's trying to thread balls in between their right back and their right centre back. He was trying to thread a ball between them both that Johnson could run onto beyond the defender and try and run onto. And that happened, I think, twice in the game. And he got to one ball and he didn't get to the other. But there was a lack of, because he's not an out-and-out take-on merchant, right? There was a lack of Johnson being fed by Spence. However, on the other side, when Porro gets the ball, he looks for Kudos because Kudos is the one-on-one take-on merchant. And I felt against Bournemouth and I felt it against Burnley as well. But then I'm saying that, but we beat Burnley 3-0. And I'm saying this, but we beat Man City 2-0. It just happens that we didn't beat Bournemouth. But I felt that the press from Bournemouth was better than Burnley's, and it probably was better than Man City's, although I only watched that on telly and I couldn't see the whole of the pitch. But every time we looked like a lopsided team because all the play goes through Kudos. So basically your team is shuffling across to the right hand side because the ball's on the right, so the team shuffles, right? And for me, I don't think Frank got it wrong. I just think that Bournemouth, and you've got to give them props. Bournemouth were absolutely insane with their press, but I feel it's kind of weird because last year for Brentford, Thomas Frank, in about 3 games, I think it was consecutively, they scored in the first minute because they were pressurising and they played attacking football. With Tottenham, it appears that we're still learning his ways and his tactics. And we were never going to be the final product after the first 3 games of the season. But to me, it's a living and learning. He would have gained a lot from that, Thomas Frank. He would have learned a lot about his team in defeat. You learn more about your team in defeat than what you do with a win. So he would have learned more about his team. And, going into the West Ham game, it's not going to happen overnight, guys. Like I say, Simmons has got to be bled in. Moani's got to be bled in. But they're good caliber of players that should understand the game and should understand the tactics that they are being given and should be able to take them on board. And it'll be interesting to see if they are Frank type players, because then he'll be able to instill. They should be able to pick up and then we should be able to see what our team then goes on and does from there. I hope, Swim Master, in a roundabout way, I've answered your question. But he did change it because in the second half, in the 70th minute, from the 70th minute onwards, when we made the substitutions, it was like the guns of Navarone. We were just all over them for the last 20 minutes. Didn't create loads. Um, I, I remember Odebert being in the box, side footing one over the bar. And then I think Tell was put through for one as well at the end as well. So we created, because in the first half, I'll be honest, we didn't create one chance. Didn't have one shot on goal in the first half, in the first 45 minutes. And all our creation came in the last 20 minutes of the game. So it's a live and learn. And for me, Swim Master, as I said, I think Thomas Frank has learned more about his team in defeat in that game. And it's probably helped him out going forward. Ryan, over to you. What's your answer?
Right. Look, I've got to look at this a bit realistically, right? First two games, before I even answer the question, I want to just say I want to give Frank this free pass for the whole season because it's his first season. So I will be giving him a free pass, whether we to win, lose, or draw, or whatever. But saying that, do I think he could have done changed his tactics more? Yes, I do. But this is literally me having positive criticism to say about him, not negative. The first two games, it worked well, and we learned that pressing in certain stages of them games that it was going to be useful because we pushed for the Burnley game. If I remember rightly, we were pressing, or I might even be thinking of the Man City game here. So you'll probably be able to tell me in a minute, Jose. But we was pressing quickly when they were when they took their goal kick, when they were taking it short. Now, we were marking them out of the games because they had nowhere to go. And especially against a team like Burnley, when you've got Kudos on that right-hand side, it's not too bad because he's got the skill to get past them kind of players usually, because he's just much better than who was ever trying to double up on him in like Cole Walker or whoever it was. And so for them kind of games, Kudos can be a one-man show and it will work. Against someone who's also a very good presser of the another good team that is good at pressing, he does need to change his tactics a bit more. But saying that, it worked against Man City. So was it just that we was having just an off day? I mean, it could have been that, but we won't really know that much until after the game against West Ham. Do I think we will win against West Ham? Yeah, I do. I think Kudos will get a hat-trick. Simmons will get a double on his debut for goals-wise, and then probably get an assist or two with Kudos being on the end of a few of them. So I think Simmons will get probably an assist and a goal, and I think that Kudos will get a hat-trick. But like I said, until then, we won't really be able to tell too much until we've seen how they play really against West Ham next Saturday. Is it, Jose? Next Saturday, is it?
13th. I think it's 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
No, it's an evening kickoff. It's 5:30, but I just didn't know.
Okay, 5:30. Yeah, for 5:30 game will be a Saturday game then.
Yeah,
I've not really looked at the away fixtures because I'm going to home games. I'm not going to the away ones at the moment. So
Okay, yeah. So, but yeah, that's what I think. I mean, I hope that's helped answer that question a bit better. But that's like the only way that I can really see it, to be honest. But no, thank you for that question, Swim
Master
Master.
says, I see your points. On a side note, I think Romero and others may have had one eye on the internationals too, as Drula has said, because Drula said, I think they took it easy. They didn't want to get injured for their up and coming games for their
Mm,
countries. I will say to you guys that if that's the case, Thomas Frank's no mug. He'll know whether the players were putting an effort in or not. He'll know. They train with these players week in, week out. He's been a manager and a coach for years and years. He knows when players are trying to pull the wool over your eyes. So if it's the case of what you guys have said, then he'll find them out. Rain is here and says afternoon all.
love you, mate. Even though we don't
Then it,
always agree on things, Rain, I do love you, mate. And let's just keep the banter going on other shows, shall we?
And then he says, hope everyone is dealing with the information detox after what we've had for the past couple of months. Nita is saying, we are not going to be unbeaten this season, to go unbeaten this season. It will be interesting to see how we recover after losses. Last season, the football was unbearable. Frank has a lot about him. Come on, you Spurs. Hod God says, I think against PSG and City, we knew we'd have less of the ball. With Sarr and Paulinho, we were more effective closing down, harassing opponents. Against Bournemouth, we needed more possession.
Yeah.
Archer says that is the seventh game on the trot. We have lost the Premier League game directly before the international break. Yeah, we need to break the curse from international breaks. And
Yeah.
Rain has come in and says, top man, Rhino. So there you
Love
go.
you. I love you, Rain, man. Come, man. Do you know what? I need to get you on my channel at some point, Rain, mate. I need to get you on my channel at some point. And Jose, I need to get you on at some point as well, mate. I might have to get you and Rain on at
Back
some
on,
point.
you mean? Back on your channel.
Oh, yeah, well.
Because
Yeah,
I've been on before.
Yeah, but it's a different it's the playful one I'm talking about. Because that's the only one I use now. So you haven't been on that one yet, have you? You was on my other one, my Tottenham Forever channel.
Oh, okay, all right. No, do you know what? It was in the show that I was in the chat and I was answering your questions, you and your mate. I was in the chat just answering your questions
Oh,
one
yeah,
after
yeah,
another,
you
weren't
was
I?
in the chat, yeah, but you wasn't
Yeah.
actually on.
Yeah, sorry.
That's
Yeah, yeah. I knew I'd been on with you before though.
Yeah.
So saying that, we've talked about our thoughts on Mr. Levy, our thoughts on the club, our thoughts on the matches, our thoughts on the transfer window, our thoughts on the manager, our thoughts on the players. So I suppose the only way to really end this off, basically, is to have a discussion. I know we're a week away. The internationals haven't even been played. England don't play till later today, and they've got another game next week before all the players all come back. But what are you looking forward to, or what do you want to see for West Ham?
Right. Well, this is actually really a good question because I haven't really, like you said, I haven't had a chance to really think too far ahead on that one, Jose. To be honest, I've been wanting to get these boring internationals out of the way before I start thinking, but you put me in the driving seat now. So, what am I looking towards getting out of the West Ham game? Well, first of all, 3 points. Definitely got to have 3 points, Jose. I don't care what anyone says. It's a London derby, and we need the 3 points to get back onto that winning mentality again. And I think someone like Thomas Frank's experience in the Premier League, he'll do that. And I'm also wanting to see a better performance and not be overrun. But honestly, I think we will be doing that anyway. Do I want to see a load of goals going in? Yep, like I said, to answer Swim Master's question, I think it'll be something like 4-0. And that's already what you can put down for a predictions league. So at the London Stadium. So you can already put that down for your predictions league. So you better write that down. 4-0.
I'll do it when you do the predictions next Friday. 4-0. God, right? Oh, Ryan, that's massive. Big time. 4-0 fucking. I'll tell you what, you got some optimism there, son. So for me, looking forward to Tottenham playing again because I always love seeing Tottenham play, win, lose or draw. But I would prefer wins. But regardless, I love watching us play. Tottenham's been in my heart for over 51 years, so I just love watching us play and love watching everything Tottenham. But for me, I think the first and foremost, I think that these internationals have got to come and go, and the
Yeah.
minute they come and go, some people will be finished by Monday because that would have meant they've played Thursday and Monday. Some people play Friday, Tuesday. Some people play um, Saturday
Today
and
and Wednesday.
Saturday and Wednesday. So
Mm.
we're going to start getting players back, apart from because Moani's training with the youngins and the people that haven't gone out to on national duty. So they're already training on the pitch and that. But then you're going to have a lot of the players will come, but not a lot. But you'll have some will come back on Monday evening. Some will be there for Tuesday. Some will be there for Wednesday, and some will be there for Thursday. We play on Saturday at 5:30. You were right. It's 5:30 Saturday. And what I want first and foremost is at the moment, touch wood, it continues. We've got no injuries at all on the international front, none whatsoever at the moment. Nothing's been reported for our players at the moment. So I'm hoping that they all come back fit and healthy. And I did say in last month, well, I've been saying it for a while now, the most important weeks for Thomas Frank are the weeks when he has the squad together for the whole week to implement tactics and do training sessions, do the drills and everything. When you start playing the 3 games a week, so to speak, it means you get less training time, and we now go into 3 days a week because we play Saturday against West Ham. Then in midweek we've got Villarreal in the Champions League. Then we've got.
I think we are going to do. I
Then
think
we've
we're
got
actually going
Brighton.
to do 3
Then we're away to Brighton, I think, and then we're at home to Doncaster in the cup, and then we're at home to Villa in the league, and then we're going to be in the Champions League. And so, yeah, all these games start. So the advantage that Thomas Frank would have had by having his team with him for the whole week, that only happened for the first 3 weeks. It's going to be hard to see when we're next going to get. I don't know when we next get a break in the fixtures where you get a whole week to train with the side. So, at the end of the day, it's fundamental and it's important that these players come back with no injuries whatsoever. Right. They come back with no injuries whatsoever. It's welcome to Xavi Simons and welcome to Kolo Muani. They will get to see all their teammates on the grass, on the training pitch. So it'll be the first time of seeing them. And then obviously Thomas Frank has to hatch a plan, which Thomas Frank, let's not get this twisted. Thomas Frank would have already got the dossier on West Ham, would have already got, all the intel on West Ham's games so far this season. Him and his coaches would already be preparing the training sessions in anticipation for the West Ham game. The tactics are being prepared already in anticipation for the West Ham game. So we are fully prepared for that game. West Ham until their last game away to Forest, where they beat them 3-0. West Ham and their supporters are absolutely up in arms against Gold and Sullivan and Potter and stuff like that. So they've been in turmoil. Sometimes when you watch the West Ham channels, and there's one that I do go and watch because good mate of mine, Tony, and when I watch his, I listen to what the West Ham fans have got to say. If I closed my eyes and I just listened to the audio and not see the messages because they read out the chat, you would have thought they were describing Daniel Levy and Tottenham. So when they say our chairman, our chairman, our club, blah blah blah, and when they were describing it all, if you close your eyes, you would say they're describing Tottenham. Pre
Oh my
Thursday,
God.
they're describing Tottenham. So they're all up against the. They reckon that their chairman gets involved in deals. He goes for dodgy deals and for the cheapest bargains. They say that they've got him. He runs all the transfers. He's ruining the club. He gets involved in it all. And then they say that their manager has been dealt a bad hand by the chairman. And then they say that apart from that, they said that the manager's tactics are shit. Honestly, if you closed your eyes and you only listened to the audio, you would think they were describing some of the stuff that's been going on at Tottenham. So
Oh,
they've,
goodness.
they've
That's
put
what I
in what
say
they've
to
yeah,
him.
yeah, they've put in one good performance against Forest away, but they've not been at the races in their first two games. I think they had
Mm,
a first good half against Sunderland. They played really well in the first half, and they got beaten 3-0 in
mm,
the second half. And I can't remember Chelsea at home. I think in the predictions I had Chelsea to win 3-0 because they've got the Indian sign. They keep smashing them over there, and they went and put five past them.
mm.
They're beaten 5-1. So, you know,
Yeah.
to me, the stadium at West Ham doesn't help them either. I think it's because it's not a traditional stadium, a traditional football stadium in any sense in a form. It's just a stadium that's been
Mm.
put there. It's soulless. It has no atmosphere whatsoever. You're so far away from the pitch. This is not my team. I'm just discussing another team now. That have got bigger problems than what we've got, and in that sense, I would love to see us go and do an absolute number on West Ham. I would love nothing better than that. Let's be fair. And I put this in the chat, in the West Ham chat the other day. Went in there, said hello, and I said, "How are you Irons looking forward to your cup final?" So, yeah, I'd like to see us come away with a victory. But first and foremost, for me, it's a clean bill of health for all the players. So Frank gets everyone to choose from. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, then. So, Jose, I wanted to just ask you this then, because you said you're. Tell me if I'm wrong and I misheard you, what you just said. But I thought I heard you say you was expecting a win. Am I correct? Or
No, I said, no, I haven't said expected. I said I would like us to
oh,
go and do a number on them.
okay, so you would like to
I
win
want
that
to
one
win.
then.
I
So
want to win. I want
if
to win every game, Ryan. I think the one
yeah,
thing you'll
so
notice,
what?
Ryan, is if you watch my, Ryan, if you watch my predictions program, which you're starting to watch now, if you've watched it for the last 2 years, you will notice that I never ever predict anything other than a Tottenham win for every single game. I don't predict draws. I predict wins. Home or away is always a win. That's why in the music that got done for me, it says Jose always predicts us to win, whether it's home or away.
Mm,
So, so yeah,
but
obviously
then
I'm going to be predicting a win.
yeah, so okay, so what would you be predicting them? Because I've already said I think we're going to do a 4-0. So what do you think?
I don't know yet because it's hard to predict. You're going early. It's hard to predict when you don't know what the health of our players are after the international window. What I tend to do is I tend to have a thought in my head on the day of the um, press conference because the press conference is normally happening on a Friday. So I'll have an idea
Mm,
in my head and then I'll listen to Thomas Frank's press conference at 2:30. It will come out and I'm scrambling to try and get audio of it before my show starts at 4 o'clock. And then from hearing what Thomas has said, I then make my decision from there.
See, I just want the reason why I've gone this high is because I want to see Kudos get a hat trick and top bins it, and then Simmons just to top bins it as well, just to like really rub the salt in their wounds. And do you know what? I would agree. I would have agreed with you up to about a week ago, right? That West Ham were in the same. We was having the same problems as West Ham. Difference is, I don't. They've lost Kudos, and I think that's been a big blow to them, not a help where they've because I've like I said, when I have my mate who's coming on either Monday or Tuesday on my channel, he keeps going saying, well, Kudos was a waste of money because he hasn't done well in the ball. He didn't do well in the Bournemouth game.
Right.
So
So to me, right, if I'm looking at at West Ham, right? Because they are our opponents, right?
Yeah.
My opinion on Kudos and on West Ham is I wanted Mohamed Kudos at Tottenham 3 years ago when he was at Ajax. I was saying back then, 3 years ago, I was saying if we sell Sonny, and I got pelters for this because I thought Sonny had already started going downhill then. It was when the World Cup when he had to wear that mask on his face.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a Qatar World Cup 2022. So it's 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I thought that he was already on the decline then, and I said I would because Liverpool were really interested in him at the time, and Klopp really fancied Sonny, and I said at the time, if we not on YouTube because I wasn't on YouTube 3 years ago, but I was in Tottenham groups, and I put
Mm.
one in the biggest Tottenham Facebook group there is. I put a comment in there saying I would let go of Sonny now. I'd accept the 100 million if Klopp's prepared to pay that, and I would go out and I would buy Mohamed Kudus of Ajax, and I would buy Manuel Ugarte of Sporting Lisbon, and we'll still have change from 100 million. Obviously, Ugarte has gone to Man United now. He went from
Mm.
Sporting to Man United last season, and Kudus went to West Ham 2 years ago. In the first season at West Ham, Kudus did really, really well.
Mm.
But I think with West Ham, for the things that I said earlier about their chairman getting involved and about the manager, they've changed managers. They had David Moyes, then they had the Spanish fella
Yeah.
Lopetegui, and then they've got Potter's gone in. So they've had three managers there since he's been there,
Mm.
and I felt that last season with all the upheaval and the change, I thought West Ham had bought poorly as well last season. I thought they bought
Mm.
mediocre players. And I felt last year that Mohamed Kudus, he was trying to do what Jared Bowen does. They were trying to carry the team on their shoulders, both of them. And they were doing things and they were trying to go the extra mile to try. And they were doing it for the right reasons, but they weren't team players by what they were doing because they were trying to all do it on their own. And I think his football
Mm.
suffered from doing that. And where he tried to take so much on his shoulders, even when we played them, we beat them 4-1 last year, he got sent off against us. But he was the man that was terrorising us. He was trying to take it all to Tottenham, and he was doing it on his own, a one-man army. And I think it's
Mm.
unfair. It's unfair. I think I look on the other side of it, and I think to myself, he was trying to carry West Ham last year with Jared Bowen because they had mediocre players around them. Now, looking at West Ham this year, I think West Ham again have bought really badly. I think their transfer window has been shockingly poor. I think the players and the caliber that they bought in are really bad. And if anything, West Ham's team seems to decline year on year with their purchases. So they're going down a similar route that another team went, like us, right? So,
Mm.
and I think that because of what's happened at West Ham and because of their money situations and that, and probably because the chairman and that are trying to take some money back from the club for themselves, they have to sell players. And the saleable asset this summer was Mohamed Kudus. So I think Mohamed Kudus, once he got wind of, I'm not playing in a successful team, I'm carrying the team on my shoulders. They need money. They're basically saying I'm expendable because they need money. Well, fuck them then. I'm going to leave, and that's what he
Mm.
did. And I don't think West Ham players, I don't think West Ham fans, in their heart of hearts, blame. I might be wrong, but I think in my heart of hearts, I don't think West Ham fans blame Kudos for going, but they blame the chairman for actually making this happen and letting them go. And then because obviously he's come to us, it's a kick in the teeth to the West Ham fans because he's come to Tottenham, which
Yeah.
is one of their sworn enemies. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think that a lot of the West Ham fans, I think, don't blame Kudus. They blame the chairman more than they blame the player.
Um. Well, I'd kind of disagree with you on that. I mean, obviously, like I said, I've got my mate coming on who's a West Ham fan, and he says he blames both. He blames
Okay.
the chairman and Kudus, and he calls him what we would say to Campbell.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I am in a bit of a sticky situation to where I think. Well, to be honest, I would love to see West Ham go down this season. I would love to see it.
To me, it's not about anyone love to see anyone go down. For me, I think that over a season, whether you finish top or second all the way to 20th, the season proves that wherever you finish, you deserve to finish in that place. So last year we
Mm,
deserved to finish 17th. That's what the 38 games brought us. We deserve to finish in that position. Again, this season
mm,
you will finish where you deserve to be over a marathon and not a sprint, right? You'll deserve to be where you end up being. And, at the end of the day, if West Ham are one of the three worst teams, then they might go down. If they're not one of the worst three teams, they won't go down. I think that there's
mm.
going to be a cat fight where normally people would turn around and say it's going to be the three promoted teams that go down. I think people this year are thinking to themselves, do you know what? It won't be the three that promoted that go down. People are
Mm,
dragging West Ham into the conversation. People are
yeah.
dragging Wolves into the conversation. People are still dragging who's the other team? They're dragging West Ham, Wolves,
Yeah.
and Brentford. Brentford are being dragged into it as well. That people are dragging other
Mm,
tides, so not necessarily. Yeah, the three that came up and the three that go down. So it makes it for more. If that's the case, and that's what people's opinions are, then it makes it for more exciting rather than do you know what? It's going to be them three that go down again. So it'd be interesting to see what
mm.
happens. Leeds have already picked up 4 points. Burnley have picked up 3 points. I don't know, Sunderland, I think, have picked up 4 points or something like that. So all the teams that came up are already at least a win under their belt already, and some have got 4 points or more. So, it makes it interesting. I mean, their height Wolves, I don't think have
Yeah.
scored a point yet. West Ham have only got 3 points because they only got that one victory. So it just makes it interesting. It
Yeah.
just means that the league goes like that. You shrink the league from top to bottom, it gets shrunk. So there's not that big, massive divide. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Swim Masters asked another question, which we'll finish on. Archie says
Yeah.
Chelsea have an unnatural obsession with Spurs, considering Woolwich were a South London team like Chelsea. Those two doing business together every season needs to be investigated. And Wayne Bonner says, "Damn, you're still going on. You're still going. Now that's stamina. We'll finish seventh to ninth," says Wayne in his opinion. Right, Swim Master, I'm going to finish on this because we've been going for just over 2.5 hours. But the Swim Master says, "I can see the obvious rivalry between us and Arsenal, especially as I lived in Tottenham, North London. But history lesson, please. Why the extra rivalry with West Ham and Chelsea that I never knew?"
Well, do you know what? I think I think I can answer this one quite comfortably, right? First of all, it's not really us having a rivalry with them. It's with West Ham anyway. It's more West Ham having a rivalry with us because they think that they're the better team and that they're like they've got too big for their boots, basically. Chelsea, on the other hand, I just don't think anybody likes Chelsea anyway. As well as there's three teams that I could say probably we they hate. There's no more. There's three teams we hate more than Chelsea and West Ham. Right? We hate the likes of Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool. I personally think that's just my opinion. I personally think that, and to be honest, Chelsea and West Ham, they're in my rear view mirror, personally. But then that's just me. Everyone's got their own opinion on what they think is a bigger rivalry. It's just a London derby. They're just two London derbies. The one I hate more than anything is Arsenal, personally, and I think that's the reason why everyone's. I don't get me wrong. The only reason why I hate West Ham as much as I do now is because my mate keeps bragging on saying that you've only won 3 trophies. So I've got a reason to hate West Ham probably a lot more than Chelsea and all the others that I've mentioned. But honestly, it's just West Ham and Chelsea in my rearview mirror. But that is the
So,
way it
so,
is.
so for me to answer this, right? For me, the Chelsea rivalry Chelsea are cosmopolitan. Chelsea are in the King's Road. You know, the King's Road is the hub of, you know, where it all happens, where all the niche people are, and you know, you had the punk rock era back then, so it's a niche area, Chelsea. And I think that the Chelsea rivalry started when we bought Jimmy Greaves off them, is what my belief is. Or it got heightened when we bought Jimmy Greaves from Chelsea, and I think that's where that got heightened. Um, with because I grew up in the Chelsea area, right? I grew up in the Chelsea area, and I Chelsea hated Tottenham with a passion. Absolutely hated them with a passion. And I'm talking. Wayne says when Abramovich came. I'm talking about before Abramovich, because I grew up in the 60s and 70s around that area, and the 80s, and they all hated Tottenham with a passion. So I'm going to go back and say that it probably kicked up. It was probably there anyway. Rivalry, Tottenham fashionable club, and as I said, um, the hub to the King's Road being what it was. Chelsea probably wanted to be the top potatoes. But I think, yeah, maybe possibly because of the Greaves situation and us taking Greaves off Chelsea, um, then meant that the rivalry was heightened. With West Ham, it's quite difficult because I'm thinking to myself, why would there be a rivalry with West Ham? Yeah, we took Martin Peters from them, and that, well, we bought Martin Peters from them, but would that have been enough? Because Martin Peters was already a fair age when we took him, where Jimmy Greaves was in his prime. He was well in his prime when we took him from Chelsea. So, but I suppose the nearest people to West Ham, Premiership club to West Ham, is probably Tottenham. It's going to be Tottenham. There's no nearer
Mm.
club to West Ham than Tottenham, and I think West Ham's rivalries are basically, if you look one way, it's Tottenham. If you look the other way, it's Millwall. Millwall and West Ham don't like each other. There's a big rivalry there.
Mm.
But yeah, I couldn't tell you why West Ham. West Ham, we're the nearest Premiership club to West Ham, and that's probably why there is a rivalry there. The Chelsea one, I'm going to pin that it's because they're a cosmopolitan. They live in a cosmopolitan. They're in a cosmopolitan area, and that Tottenham were the fashionable club because of their football. And then with the stadium, well, with buying Jimmy Greaves, I think that's where it heightened it. So that's where I think it is for me. But it'd be good to see if anyone else has got any ideas on that and where it's come.
Mm.
Right, Archer it says Chelsea have an unnatural obsession with Spurs, considering Woolwich were a South London team like Chelsea. Those two doing business together every season needs to be investigated. Oh, I read that. Sorry, Wayne Bonner. Sorry, as
I was
Wayne
going to
said,
say.
West Ham are going to have a struggle of a season. I fancy them to go down with Wolves. It's been coming, so they may well go down as well. Archer says Chelsea south of the Thames. Woolwich was south of the Thames. Ellie saying good morning, but it's good afternoon, Ellie, because you've come in. It's 12:47 now, and you came in at 12:43. Says hello, Jose. Very good morning. Came back, picked up a bad cough, like so many people on the aeroplane, spreading their germs. Wayne Bonner says Ken Bates was an early Levy. West Ham are just off better teams. I think he says. Um, Ellie then says Levy's gone. Um, Wayne says Chelsea had nothing until Abramovich's money. Archer says I watched the Bournemouth fan podcast. Really nice guy. He said Spurs Stadium is the best in the league, but from his visit, he sensed that Spurs home support not good versus smaller clubs. Marianne says I don't hate West Ham. To me, they just don't matter. And Chris Peter, good afternoon. Says as the crow flies, Arsenal are closer than Spurs to West Ham. Yeah, they are. Are they Arsenal closer to West Ham than Spurs? Hmm. Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
no, because they got West Ham were at the Olympic Stadium, weren't they?
No, but I'm talking about when they were at Upton Park.
Oh,
When they were at
right.
Upton Park. Yeah, then when they were at Upton Park. It's the closest. I would have thought it's the closest. I couldn't pinpoint why the West Ham rivalry's there. Um, but yeah, saying that. Oh, look at that. We got Vinders. Vinders, are you still in Cuba? Are you still in Cuba? I've received your predictions, by the way, Vinders. Says rivalries created when two teams have been challenging for a title consistently. Spurs has never done that. You're just our noisy neighbours. who want to be as good as us one day. Big up Jose in the chat. Going back to bed. Love ya. Vindaloo, he says, yes, mate. Now, Vindaloo, all I'm going to say to you is I know you're on holiday. I know you're in Cuba, but I know, and you don't have to tell me. I don't have to see you because I've never met you, Vinders, right? But I know that on Thursday at 5:45 English time, I know that you were shitting your pants. Levy had left, and you had joined the rest of your brethren from Arsenal in thinking, oh my God, what's happened? Please, please let it be not true. Please let this be a nightmare. Levy has left. So there we go, Vindaloo. Wayne Bonner says, West Ham don't like us as we played good football and won stuff they didn't. And Arthur says, it's weird that we live rent free in their heads considering they don't consider us much of a threat. Right. Chris Peters has then said, God, I've got people coming in when I'm about to finish. I don't care about West Ham. They hate us. To me, they're a little club with no ambition. And with that, Ryan, you are the only member that's come on today. It's open to all members. Vindaloo says, I was upset, Jose, I won't lie. He's the only member that came on. And with Jess's help, because she put your link into the chat. I'm trying to see if I can find your link again. Right, there it is. There it is. So, everybody, Ryan has got his own channel that he's starting out, him and a colleague, and they were on 32 subscribers before this show started. And I know that you got to get to 50 to start doing the extra stuff you need to do or the first stuff that you can start doing on YouTube. And we've managed to get Playful Spurs and Ryan's channel over the 50 mark. So if there's anyone that's joined us late, then please go over and sub to Ryan at Playful Spurs. So the link's in the chat, and we'll try and get as many across there as possible to give Ryan his chance. He supports Tottenham with a passion as well, has his own opinions and his own thoughts, which is good, because if we've watched the same people saying the same things week in, week out, it'd be a boring place, wouldn't it? So, you know, at the end of the day, thank you very much, Brian, for coming on.
Thank you,
thank you for everybody in the chat. I need to thank Ryan for becoming a YouTube member today, becoming again because he's been a member before, and I also need to thank Shemtam for his 9 months member badge, saying great show and great banter. And the final word is going to be for you, mate. Sorry, what's your final words before I close the show?
Do you know what? It's not. It's actually not going to be about Tottenham. It's going to be to everyone that subscribed today, and thank you. And Jess, thank you, love, for actually putting the channel's link in, because I would have had to have asked Jose to have done it about now. So thank you. But no, thank you to everyone that has subscribed, and thank you, Jess, for being such a great mod on Jose's channel and actually pulling up the link quite quickly. But thank you, and let's now try and push on to 100 subs as quickly as we can now. So thank you, guys, and everyone. I'm glad that Levy's gone, so it's made my weekend a lot more happier that I've got to 50 subs as well. So thank you, everyone.
And Drula has put in a 12-month member badge and says, come on, you Spurs, and a lovely picture of Drula there as well. Can I say I will be back tomorrow at midday with Chang. So our usual Sunday slot at midday. I think I've got a couple of other guests coming on tomorrow as well. So please come back, watch tomorrow at midday if you can. I'm sure it should be. We'll be probably talking about the same topics today, but in a more structured way. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in today. And have a healthy, happy, great Saturday. Enjoy yourselves. Archer's asking which game predictions. So far, there's 2 games that have finished, and that was the Brazilian game of Coritiba versus Ferreira or something, and Slavia Prague under 20s, and have finished their game as well. So there's 2 games that have finished. and one that's ongoing, or there's two that's ongoing at the moment, and that's the Chinese game is ongoing, and the second from last game, which was Seoul something or other, Solenberg versus Orebrio, is being played at the moment. Suffice to say that people scored quite well. No one got the correct prediction in the Brazilian game, but people scored quite well. And there are actually 3 correct predictions in the Slavia game. So well done to people. The score in the under-20 game was 2-2. The score in the under-20 game was 2-2. And in the Brazilian game, Coritiba won 4-0. Just a harmless potato. I don't know whether you've been listening in the background, but he's come in and he's flexing his 10-month member badge. It says, "Come on, you Spurs." Thank you very much for being a member for 10 months, harmless potato. Right. So, people, I will be back tomorrow at midday with Chang and the gang, as I'm going to call them for tomorrow. And like I said, I wish you all a fantastic weekend. Please come and watch us again tomorrow. And as always, it's come on, you Spurs.
Tell, Cockerel, he's just a true guy. You'll have a true time. Tell, Cockerel, leave your troubles at the door. You know the game, you know the score. We're here to have fun, so holster that gun and read the writing on the wall. The predictions leak, done every week. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel, he's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. Jose gets himself around, always talking Spurs wherever he is found, home or away. He always tips to win, throws the form book in the bin with a cheeky knowing grin. Tell, Cockerel, he's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. The Predictions League, done every week. It just goes on and on and on and on. Why do I always get it wrong? Every time I play along. Tell, Cockerel, the show is so chilled. Your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Cockerel. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel, the show is so chill. Your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at.